Marco. Marco.
You're poor. You're fucking poor.
Yep.
Obama.
Billions and billions.
It's all about residual income.
Yes, it is true. Wow, I look good. It's true what you're seeing, everyone. Wow, Ed Tyler. Wow, amazing.
Wagwan, one for the road. Best
Perfect.
wishes for the new.
Perfect.
Big ups and tums you da ting.
Perfect timing. We love to see it. Thank you so much. Where is the Wagwan?
The goals, man. The goals.
No, it's this one.
Wagwan.
Thank you so much, Ed Tyler. Perfect timing on the dono, and thank you so much for that, for the well wishes. First of all, I look amazing. Second of all, alwaysmarcomerch.com, code GOONS, 20% off. Third of all, thumbs up the ting. Make sure you click like on the ting.
Thumbs up the ting.
Fourth of all, Streamlabs link in the chat. Fifth of all, yes, the title is true. Thank you guys for being here. 127 people watching, only 53 likes. The math isn't mathing. But this is the final stream for the foreseeable future. Why? This will be a little bit of a stream sneak peek. For those of you who don't know this yet, thank you so much, A. Louise Mack. I have talked about this on previous streams, and I will actually be releasing a video about this, talking about this a little more in depth in the next probably week or two. That's what Trump always says. About the next 2 weeks. We're looking at it within 2 weeks. But within the next 2 weeks, I will be posting a video explaining why I am taking this short hiatus, and also the real behind the curtain look is that it's not just a hiatus from streaming. It is a major life change and move that has been made for the purposes of continuing my anti-MLM work, but also protecting myself and my family from the increased level of harassment that I have been at the hands of on behalf of the multi-level marketing cabal. And I wish I was joking about that, because it literally sounds like the plot of like a James Bond film, like how Spectre is like spying on him. But this is true. I am leaving Canada. I will be putting out a video explaining this, but I'm not saying where I'm going, but I'm leaving Canada. As a matter of fact, I'm leaving the Western world in order to protect myself. And also, a few different purposes are served by this. One, I'm protecting myself and my family from harassment. Two, it's hopefully going to be a new experience just as a life thing. Three, to mitigate the ever-increasing costs of, rent and groceries and whatever in Canada, which is getting kind of crazy. And there was one other reason. I can't remember why. But, yeah. I'm leaving the Western world. I am selling everything. I have been on, for the past couple weeks, I've been slowly phasing stuff out of the mansion, my apartment. Maybe I should give you a little. Uh-oh. What's all this? What's all this? Could it really just be that he's been a guy in an apartment this whole time? No, it couldn't be. But I've been in the process of moving stuff out, and tonight is the final night that I will be sleeping in this place. And for the next month, I will be laying low. Wow, this really is a James Bond movie. For the next month, I will be staying at a safe house at an undisclosed location where I am fairly certain I will be safe. Thank you, Hello Darling 09. Appreciate you for a future boudoir shoot. Hilarious. Thank you. I'll be staying at a secure location for the next month. And I would love to be able to stream in this place, but it's not a certainty that I will be streaming. And if I do stream, it's unlikely that I'll have my green screen. I might have the sound effects, but I'm not going to have hold on. But I'm probably not going to have thank you, Blake. I'm not going to have how we go here, or how we go here, or how we go here, or how we go here. Actually, we might have that one. Or how we go here, 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 or how we go here,
Live from Goon headquarters in scenic Edmonton, Alberta, it's time for Goon News.
Won't be Edmonton, Alberta anymore, that's for sure. Or how we go to the Starbucks for the pitch meeting, or how we go to the office with Jessica Alba, or how we go. So it's definitely going to be changing. But have no fear. Throughout the month of December, I will be still releasing videos. I have videos that I filmed that I still need to edit and release. I have live streams that I've done in the past that I intended to edit down into more concise videos, which I'll be putting out. And I'll be working on that mostly throughout December. And yeah, yesterday was a big day for me. I literally sold a chain, arguably the stupidest purchase I've ever made in my life. I was like 21, so I kind of forgive myself. I'm almost 28 years old now. But I bought this chain for $3,000. It was like a custom pendant with an M on it and a gold chain. And at the time, I was working as what we call, I was working for a concert promotion company as an artist liaison, but I did everything. But mostly what I would do is I would drive famous rappers around. So if you scroll way back on my Instagram, you'll see some of those photos of me with like Post Malone and Machine Gun Kelly and Ty Dolla $ign and all these famous rappers. And so because I was around people that were wearing jewelry all the time and I was in that world, I wanted a chain naturally. So, you know, when I think this was so stupid. I think I had $5,000 saved at the time and I spent $3,000 of it, literally 3/5 of all I owned, of all I was worth on a fucking piece of jewelry. And I bought this chain and wore it for a couple years, enjoyed it. And then, you know, 2019, I wasn't working in that industry anymore, actually even 2018. And so I wore it less and less because I didn't really go out. And then COVID happened and I didn't really go out anywhere at all, let alone wearing a chain. If anything, I wore sweats. So the past few years, really, it's just been sitting in its box that I bought it with. And yesterday I finally let it go, which is good because I'm trying to sell everything and I will be living quite the minimalist lifestyle going forward. I bought a new M3 MacBook Pro. So, you know, we're trying to pay that off. So Streamlabs link in the chat if you want to support this new chapter in my life. And if you just want to support generally without money, you can click like on the stream. That's free to do.
Thumbs up the king.
Unless they've raised it since, I don't know. But last time I checked, that was free. Yeah, and also ultimately also Danielle in the chat says I want to see the chain. You can also go back on my IG and see that chain, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, gotta thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for all the support and all the fun times and laughs we've had over the course of this year. It's been, and prior if you've been here since, but especially this year when I decided to focus on anti-MLM content. So big up to you guys and thank you for that, for real. We really did it. Aside from that, I'm also going to be working on some new, thank you, Shifter Art, appreciate you. And thank you for the donations, Brand Design, Amy Pruvit, really appreciate that. Wrong one. And Shifter Art as well, thank you. Leave for a month to Colombia. Oh, yep. Leave for a month to Colombia, and now everything bigger. Even your attitude is bigger. Your appetite growing. He's dropping bars from the Drake song, The Shoe Fits. Big bars on that song.
Bars.
Let me read you guys' comments here real quick. I'm not taking a break from the content, and I'm not taking a break from anti-MLM, that's for sure. But like I said, the harassment is at an all-time high. And I would really prefer if you guys didn't read about me being assassinated or committing suicide by shooting myself in the back of the head somehow. And, you know, not to be dramatic, but this is only truly going to escalate. You see in documentaries about like Scientology, how ex-members are harassed or go missing or are sued into oblivion. I've certainly had my fair share of legal happenings because of my anti-MLM work. And unfortunately, the way the Canadian laws are, I'm not even at liberty to talk about a lot of the stuff that's happened in a transparent way, which is shitty. And now we're at the next stage where I've not shut up even after the legal, maneuverings. And so now it's become in-person harassment, them finding me at my home, at my gym, going to my relatives' houses, looking for me. Horrible, messages of, that I couldn't even repeat on YouTube being sent to relatives of mine on social media. And and I'm still not going to bend the knee or back down. And so the next logical, rational thing for me to do is to, make a change, a drastic change, and go somewhere where they hopefully won't find me, and no one will know where I am. But yeah, it's funny. I was saying to my aunt the other day, I said, because her and my nieces are always trying to make sure I don't get a big head, because I always love to sarcastically joke about how I'm a famous YouTuber and all this stuff with them, right? Because my nieces are at that age where they just like roll their eyes and they're like, yeah. But I said to my aunt the other day, I said, let me get this straight. I wear disguises and use fake names to go undercover to these evil multi-level marketing criminal organization, basically Spectre. I go into their meetings and I use fancy gadgets like my spy pen camera to expose what's really going on. And I travel around the world and learn languages and stay in secret locations so that they can't find me and whatever. And I was like, how am I not real life James Bond? What's the difference except for the fact that I'm not yet having bullets flying over my head and getting into hand-to-hand combat every day? So that part, I'm trying to keep perspective on it and kind of enjoy the process of being someone who is targeted and vilified and attacked constantly. So yeah, this is also, if, I know the MLM Illuminati is watching me. So yeah, sorry y'all, it hasn't worked. And I guess you'll have to go on to phase 3. The lawsuits haven't worked. The stalking and petty harassment hasn't worked. So we'll see where you guys go next. Best of luck to you. Okay, let me read your guys' comments here. Definitely not clickbait. I'm seeing, it's funny. I see, there's a lot of people watching this right now. I see people who I've never seen in a live stream before. Clickbait. What are you talking about, bro? And also the reason I can't say where I'm going is because last time I said where I was traveling to, Scott Johnson and Peter Mingils, who, if you're not familiar with, go, check out the lore on my live stream history. I'm pretty sure it was Scott Johnson made a report to the U.S. border security telling them that I was a drug dealer and this and that and who knows what else. And I got detained at the U.S. border crossing in Toronto and almost missed my flight, so that I, back in March when I was going to speak at the MLM conference, and that wouldn't have been fun. So can't obviously say where I'm going, because if I do, then the same thing is going to happen, and it's, nonsense. So just a headache I don't want to deal with. Beyond, what up to all the members in the chat? Beyond says he's also created 2 decoy Marcos that are constantly moving around to keep the assassins off his trail. So true. So true. But in 2024, I do plan and hope to continue streaming again regularly, but it depends on a number of factors. Thank you, Hello Darling, for the donation. It depends on a number of factors. What is the time difference going to be like where I'm going for most people who watch my streams? Will there be reliable Wi-Fi? Will it be safe? And I know that they're not going to know where I am. If I have a green screen, that will certainly help, etc., etc. Marco in fitness protection program. Yep. The residual income from this move, though.
It's all about residual income.
Right. Okay. A. Louise Mack says cap and renews their membership as regional director. Thank you. Also, sixth of all, ni hao. Yep.
Ni hao.
Also, I have to say this. I talked about this on the last stream. I'm working on a course Sure. Sorry, I'm not working on a course. I'm working on a guide. Course really is the wrong way to describe it because there's nothing to complete. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm like, okay, you've become certified in this. And also the word course just has such a bad stigma around it because of like fake gurus. But what I'm working on right now is a guide, which is a series of videos that will help you or whoever needs it to deal with their friend or relative who is currently brainwashed by an MLM, help deprogram them to get them out, as well as if you were in an MLM or you are in an MLM, it will allow you to make sense of what has been scrambled in your mind so that you can live a normal life again. Because as we know, the new think and double speak used by MLM is designed specifically to professionally scramble your brain. So this guide is going to be a compilation of all the knowledge that I have about MLM, from the books I've read, the investigations I've done, the experts that I've interviewed and spoke to privately, my 4 years on YouTube doing this, my countless conversations with people who have had experiences in MLM and seeing how it's destroyed their lives, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's going to whittle all of that down and cut the fluff and create a cohesive guide that people can look to understand what MLM is, how did it do what it did, how does it continue to scam people and destroy lives and operate as the biggest cult in human history, and how can you get your friends and loved ones out. And today I had another genius idea, which would literally just be like a novelty merch item of a Marco moving to Russia. Yeah, me and Edward Snowden. A novelty merch item, which would literally be a blank book called like Reasons You Should Join an MLM. And it's, as you know, just a blank notebook. I think that'd be funny. Okay. Marco moves mask. He's been Scott Schaefer the whole time. Yeah. Thank you, Bug, and all you guys for your support. I say Bug because I'm reading her comment right now. All the members, for real. And also, if you guys are not on the Patreon, you will be getting the guide for free as well. This call has become so important to me, says Devin Kelly. Marco, you're the GOAT and inspiring others. Thank you so much. That's so true. So true. The more of us there is, the less they can't sue us all. They can't kill us all. And this is an information war. The anti-MLM versus very well-funded, long-standing cartel structure, mafia structure, multi-level marketing industry is truly an information war. Holy shit.
Been a big fan since 2020. Helped me transition out of this Forex MLM.
Yeah.
Life's been so much smoother ever since. As a token of my thanks, here is a bag.
Marco.
Thank you, Marco the Narco, the Mooch, the Goon Shyster
Marco.
Cocaine Dealer, our dear Goon Leader.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I know Scott Johnson's fist just balled up seeing you do that. Blake Cavaney says, I would totally watch this movie. Yeah, maybe this will become a movie one day. But yeah. Sharia Smith says, sorry you've had to deal with that level of harassment. I appreciate that. Thank you. And you know what? It's interesting. There's actually something enjoyable about this level of harassment, because I know in my heart that this wouldn't be happening unless I was truly, truly making an impact. The evil MLM cartel, Illuminati, cult, criminal organization, whatever you want to call them, they are not doing this type of stuff to people who are not genuinely affecting their bottom line and their recruiting efforts and their retention efforts, spending a lot of money to rent out big stadiums multiple times a year to have these conventions and celebrations, which are literally just hype rallies designed to brainwash people continually, keep them in, keep feeding them false confirmation bias through these success stories of people who go up there and say, I was poor, but then after 6 months in this company, I was able to retire my mother and blah, blah, blah. By the way, this guide that I'm crafting right now with the help of experts like Robert Fitzpatrick is going to contain a full dictionary, essentially, of every single example that we can come up with that we have heard MLM recruiters, leaders use. And these will be the false equivalency, double speak, nonsense phrases they always use. And I will go through every single one and explain in this guide why every single one of them is a complete nonsense, double speak lie. And a great example of this is when they talk about most people lose because most people didn't work hard enough. And they'll say, the average is so bad, the 99% loss rate is so bad because 99% of people don't do anything, and so they're bringing the numbers down. But the group...
Be safe, bucko, folded hands.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you, El. They'll say the average is brought down because 99% of people don't try hard, and the true people who do try hard, those are the success stories that you hear about. Actually, the opposite is true. That's why this is doublespeak. The opposite is true. The numbers are so much more abysmally worse than a 99% loss rate, and the people who are profiting off the losses of those below them actually bring the average number up to make it 99%. If it weren't for those people, if you remove them from the equation, you would see that it's actually like 99.9999999. It's virtually 100%. So I'm going to go through, or like, here's another one, independent business owner. Well, you're not independent. It's not a business, and you don't own it. So I'm going to go through, there's going to be an entire, like I said, dictionary of all of these phrases, tactics, etc. It's going to be really good. Who's this? Cad the Barber, thank you for joining the cult. Yes. Silica says, I can't wait for old camera quality.
Excited for
wow,
the future. Let's
no
get
way,
this dad train
Alex.
started.
Alex,
Choo-choo.
Alex. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate that. Alex has been riding with me for a long time. When you see Alex in the chat, you better tip your hat. Alex, what the hell, again?
America Boo Blocka POW money to protect yourself from the assassins.
Wow. Where is that Mr. Bublaka one? Let me find that sound effect. Is it this one? Thank you so, man, that's crazy. Yeah, this is not a clickbait stream. I actually am genuinely sad that I'm not going to be streaming for the next little while, but everything, all the bags that people are dropping right now, M-Dub, amazing, Alex, amazing, is going towards not only this move, but to the continued ability of me to live basically out of a backpack with my gadgets and my camera and my laptop, and continue to be able to make, that was the other upside of me going abroad, is so that I can also show how people in less affluent, less fortunate, less economically privileged countries than Canada and the United States are being taken advantage of and destroyed by MLM companies. My videos are all in English. So all the comments you see of people saying, I was scammed by this when I was 18, I actually think we haven't even begun to scratch the surface of hearing victim testimonies, because by the numbers, most of the MLM victims in the world are in places outside of the West, I should say. So I think me being abroad and on the ground, able to show you like, hey, this looks like a regular gym, but it's actually an Herbalife health club. I think that will be really interesting and really good journalism as well. So excited for that. Gary says, how could you be afraid of people in Edmonton, Canada? Interesting question, Gary. You ever heard of cars? You ever heard of planes? People come from other places. I've been, as a matter of fact, I know for a fact that some of the private investigators who have come to harass me and my family are doing so on behalf of some company in the United States, not even in Canada. So, yeah. But Silicon Valley says, I can't wait for old camera quality. Thankfully, I will have my camera with me. And thus far, the playing around with my new laptop has proven that I'll be able to keep the same camera quality. So yeah. Marco on the move to North Korea. I would love that. Marco removes the mask. It's been Scott Schaefer the whole time. Then Scott Schaefer removes the mask, and he's been CoffeeZilla the whole time, right? Appreciate you guys. I'm reading your comments here. I thank you so much, Marnie. Really appreciate. Welcome to the cult, executive team leader. Ranking up, ranking up. Marco moving to Gotham. Okay. Beyond, so Marco, I am happy for you. Proud of you and very happy for you. I hope this adventure shakes out and can't wait to see where it takes you. Thank you very much, Beyond. Specs says you're leaving WTF. Where are you going? Specs knows. Shifter, thank you for being here. Believe me, this has come up. His chain has come up on Building Fortunes Radio before. Has it? I forgot about that. T's Hot Mess History, thank you for the support. I'm reading your guys' comments. Gary says,
Dono War. Also, Scott and Peter, I'm so stupid. Giving away money from my JOB.
Thank you, Ose, can you see? Gary Baines says, so Marco was threatened and he got scared. Well, that's quite the statement from a guy with no profile picture and zero content on his channel. Love that. All right, I'm catching up in your guys' comments. It's tough. 235 people watching, but only 174 likes. Doesn't quite make sense. The math doesn't make sense. No way. Is this real? No way. What? A. Louise Mac, 50 members? Gary Winthorpe, thank you. Can we talk about this? Can we talk about this? 50 memberships? You guys realize that's like a $250 donation, right? Holy shit. Wow. Danielle says they'll keep stooping lower. So true. Ash Ultima says, I'm sorry to hear this, Marco. You are a true legend for helping out all people impacted by MLM. You are more than James Bond. You're the real Mr. Worldwide. It's actually unforgivable that I don't have a Pitbull sound effect on the Stream Deck yet. Maybe the one where he says, to suck in excess is to have success. Dang, wow. Literally, big up in the chat to A. Louise Mac. A. Louise Mac. Thank you so much. You are a G. We gotta get on a FaceTime or something, A. Louise Mac. I still have no idea who you are. Are you a man? A woman? Where do you live? No idea. Appreciate you guys. And you know what? My family's been very supportive of this, and it's gonna be definitely hard. But maybe there will be some way, depending on how it goes when I'm away. Maybe there's some way that I can structure my life that I spend 3 months away and I come back for a month. That would be ideal.
Keep
Is this
exposing.
new?
Stay safe. Appreciate all that you do.
Katie, wow, man. This is crazy. Thank you so much. This is fucked. Seriously. That wasn't the reason I did this stream. It wasn't to get a million bags. It was just so that I could let you guys know so that you wouldn't be worried and shit. Silica Valley says you are the MLM version of Scientology's David Miscavige's wife. Yeah, Shelly Miscavige. Where is Shelly? Hashtag where is Shelly? And it's actually a shame because even Leah Remini, how do you say it? Leah, who is like the driving force behind exposing Scientology for the cult that it is, she is friends with, I shouldn't say names, she is friends with MLM cult leaders. She's friends with people in MLM. High up, founders, the spouses of founders. You know, you can Google this yourself so that I don't get in trouble. But yeah, it's all encompassing. MLM truly runs the whole world. And that's not an over exaggeration. I put out a video just last week talking about the mayor of my city promoting an MLM company, and how one of his biggest donors is a guy that has been in my videos before, a known scammer. I have an entire video on my channel about the U.S. presidents who have endorsed MLM and been paid spokespeople for MLMs, and even that video didn't cover all of them. So the world truly is ran by MLM, and I continually feel more and more like Winston Smith, because it seems so many places I go, I'm one of the few people. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only person who can look around me and realize, like, yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere, and it's in everything. There's a McDonald's by my one of my relatives' houses, and every day, if you were to drive by at any random day outside of this McDonald's, there's a white SUV that has the Jani, which is an MLM company, which is also one of the MLM companies talked about in the John Oliver multi-level marketing video with 36 million views. And there's a Jani decal, or decal, maybe you say it decal. There's a Jani decal on the side of this SUV, and I'm pretty sure one of the managers of this McDonald's, either they're in it or their spouse is in it, and it's like, man, I wonder, are they recruiting these people who are working this, minimum wage job at McDonald's to their MLM? Like, it's everywhere. It's all around us. So, yeah. Billy Bob says, Marco, I wish you would get strong as heck and then kick these guys' ass. I will.
Goon check in. Shout out to all you do. We gotta be here when you're ready to make your comeback.
Thank you. And as a matter of fact, thank you so much. Thank you so much, for real. As a matter of fact, it's only going to be a comeback as far as streaming is concerned. Because if anything, I would hope that I'm dropping more videos than I normally am over the month of December, because I won't be spending any time planning streams or doing live streams. I will just be focused on editing the videos that have already been filmed. So hopefully, fingers crossed, in December, we see more uploads of official videos to the Always Marco YouTube channel. And even if we're not seeing streams, but you guys know the streams are very important to me, because YouTube ad revenue doesn't pay that much unless you're going crazy viral. And so the live streams and like your guys' donations and Patreon pledges is really key to keeping the lights on and keeping this ship afloat. And if it stays the same, as a matter of fact, we're hoping that it grows, right? When I'm abroad, when I'm away, presumably my cost of living where I'm going is going to be much cheaper, without saying too much or giving away too much, but I'll be making the same. And so I'll be able to arbitrage that currency difference. And if that happens, I'll be able to do a lot more significant work with the anti-MLM mission. Peter and Scott have already alerted the UN. Yeah, watch them call Canadian Border Patrol. Yeah. So funny. Julie says, what up, Julie Anderson? She says, to those who still think MLMs aren't cults, this is what happens. Do what you need to do, Marco. Thank you, Julie. Yeah, I mean, I'm one of the biggest voices against MLM. I don't have the most subscribers of anybody who talks about, MLM or cults or scams. Shout out to coffeezilla. However, I haven't seen many people with like big 6-figure, 7-figure YouTube videos about MLM, or someone who it's their main thing and puts out expansive exposés like I have. And I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just bringing this up to make a point about how when that does happen, and this is the first time historically that you're really seeing it happen, this is the effect. This is the cause and effect. I show them for what they really are. I expose the truth. And what do? They do everything they can to unperson me from existence. In 2021, my Instagram account, I woke up and on 15 different occasions over the span of 3 months, 15 times, I woke up and saw when I logged into Instagram, matter of fact, just when I opened the app, and it said, this account has been permanently deleted. Permanently deleted. Turns out that was a lie. I was still able to get it back every time. But I was only able to get it back because at that time, a subscriber of mine actually worked at Facebook. Before it was Meta, they worked at Facebook in the department that would have access to reviving my account. That was the only reason I was able to get it back. If it weren't for that person, I would have been deleted off Instagram long ago, and you would have never heard from me again on there. And Lord knows, my YouTube, they keep trying. Every one of my big videos, infiltrating a pyramid scheme, every one of them has had privacy complaints, false copyright strikes, defamation complaints, and they have worked and failed to varying degrees. Some of the videos are limited, like WFG Part 3 is limited only in Canada. If you're on my Patreon, you can see it. But in certain regions in Canada, you can't watch it. Even I, in Alberta, can't see the video on my channel. I have to go into my YouTube studio, search for it, and then I can watch it from there. But I can't actually see it on my channel. If you've been following me even just this year, you've seen massive videos on my channel with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, and in some cases, nearly 1 million videos disappear overnight. This is not me doing it, you know? So just keep that in mind. Anytime you look at a channel like, I think of a channel like MKBHD, Marquez Brownlee, who reviews every new Apple product that comes out. Sometimes he says he likes them, sometimes he doesn't. When he says he doesn't like it, do you think Apple is going to these lengths to silence him and muzzle him? Of course not. If it's legit, it will stand up to scrutiny. If it's not, that's when you need to start bullying and suing and harassing and assassinating. And yeah, I've already experienced a couple of those things. I'm reading your guys' comments. Yes, my guide will be $997. That's the scammer, the scammer's favorite number to sell their courses for. Marco, you're going to be in my next video if you're releasing a course. Yeah. It's going to be 11/11. Yeah, okay. I'm just getting to these comments now where I talk about the guide. Yeah, recruit 3 friends to buy this guide, and I'll give it to you for free. Do we have to pay you $2,000 per month to only have to pay $500 for the course? So funny. Yeah. I shouldn't have said course. That was a mistake. It's truly not a course. It's not a course because I'm not telling you how to make money. If anything, I'm telling you the opposite. Add diagrams and graphics. I will. It'll be like YouTube videos, but only in the guide. Marnie says, write a book. You have a story to tell and a just cause. It's a tangible item someone can buy, and it helps with the stigma of charging for it. Yes, definitely have thought about the book thing. I think it's too early for the book yet, but yeah. Pants for cats. Yep. Thank you, T's Hot Mess History, for the dono. She says, I told you that when I first saw your channel, I had never seen MLM content that went as deeply as yours. I came into MLM content by watching Illuminati, surface level. You are the best. Thank you so much, T's Hot Mess History. Really appreciate that. That means a lot. I do put a lot of work into it, and I can tell, just objectively speaking, this is just an objective fact. Nobody is putting the effort into their videos about MLM like I am. And I mean that in the most humble way. I specifically am talking about going in person and taking the risk of showing your face in person using hidden cameras to actually show, like, on the ground level, first person, what is happening. Nobody's doing that, and that's just an objective fact. I'm not saying that to you know, put anyone else down. Nightwing says, I just got my Suddenly hoodie from alwaysmarcomerch.com. It is so soft and comfortable. Definitely recommend. Thank you for that, Nightwing. Sam says, how are you not terrified right now? I'd be scared out of my mind. This is very important. And I want all 267 people watching this and however many thousand people are going to watch the replay of this to, if you're a person who makes clips, clip this. Every person in human history who has had a significant positive impact going against the status quo, against the establishment or the government that was keeping a certain group of people oppressed, at one time or another, every single one of them was vilified, assassinated, harassed, attacked, thrown in jail wrongfully. This is just literally the cost of trying to make a positive impact in the world and fuck with the wallets of billionaire criminals. Simple. There was a time when the news would have called Nelson Mandela a terrorist. You know, Nelson Mandela did I think it was 28 years in jail. Go Google Nelson Mandela right now. I'll tell you what you'll find. Watch this. Nelson Mandela. I bet you what I'm going to read will be positive. The first picture is a picture of him going like this, and it says, here's his wiki. A South African apartheid activist and politician who served as the first president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. He was the country's first black head of state and the first elected in a fully representative democratic election. Wow. Thank you, Seabass.
Thanks for everything,
man.
Marco. I'm pretty close to leaving Canada as well with the costs.
Insane.
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much, man. Yes, the cost of living in Canada, I actually don't know how most people are fucking doing it. But back to Nelson Mandela. Everything that I just read was positive. You know, this guy did 27. It says here, why was Nelson Mandela imprisoned for 27 years? Let me actually pull this up on the screen so you know I'm not making this up. I know a lot of you already know your history, but let me just bear with me here, okay? Move me over to the side here. Internet. Sorry, I was doing something else on the last stream, so I didn't have this organized. Okay. Here we go. Look at this. Nelson Mandela. Why was Nelson Mandela imprisoned for 27 years? You guys can see this, right? Yes. Okay. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison for opposing South Africa's apartheid system. Literally opposing racism. Read that. He faced harsh conditions meant to break his resolve, but Mandela refused to give up his efforts to achieve equality for all people. One way or another, you will hear my obituary stated one of two ways. Always Marco. He was the guy who exposed the fact that multi-level marketing is the biggest financial scam and commercial cult in human history, and he saved millions of people trillions of dollars over the course of his life by systematically exposing each of these companies and introducing legislation and starting a nonprofit and blah, blah, blah to combat the evils of these companies. Or you will read a story that says, Always Marco was spent 1,000 years in prison until he died because he opposed, they'll find something. I've heard rumors spread about me. Even after my first couple WFG videos came out, you wouldn't believe it. I had people messaging me on Instagram saying, hey man, you won't believe it. You won't believe this. They literally have tailored their meetings to talk about me specifically, in their meetings and say, if you go on YouTube, you're going to hear about this and you're going to hear about that. As a matter of fact, WFG Part 3, I proved this myself. There's one guy, John, from World Financial Group. In WFG Part 3, I call him pretending to be somebody else. I don't even remember the fake name I gave him. You can go watch this. And I said, hey, man, I saw this video by this Always Marco guy on YouTube talking about WFG being a scam. He had a whole story about me. He doesn't even know me. He had a whole backstory. Oh, yeah, people tried this business and then they failed. Now they're bitter. They make YouTube videos to get some clicks, get some money. He had a whole story ready, and it was all made up. He doesn't know me from a hole in the wall. He doesn't know me at all, and had a whole story. I've heard stories about how them saying that I was arrested for public indecency because I was streaking nude in public. I've heard the craziest stories relayed back to me that they have made up just to try and discredit me. What's the popular one they'll use, going forward most likely? They'll find some woman that I've never even met before, and they'll have her come out and say, oh yeah, Marco did X, Y, and Z to me, which is also the ultimate irony, because I just got a comment the other day on WFG Part 4 from a woman saying that the senior marketing director, whatever, at her office did, you know what I'm about to say, to her. So just keep that in mind. This is what I signed up for. You're going to hear stuff about me, whether it's directly or indirectly, or me relaying it. You know, anytime people say stuff about me, like Scott and Peter saying I'm this big cocaine, drug lord, I rebroadcast it to make fun of it. And but eventually I'm just telling you, it's going to escalate. And it is. Marco removes mask and it's been Chase Sanders this whole time. So funny. Really, really, really thank you guys for all the love and support tonight. This is massive. And A. Louise Mac, 50 members? That's crazy. I haven't even got to that point in the chat yet. I might have to skip ahead, but I'll tell you what. I'm going to rewatch this stream later on 2x speed just so I can read your comments. And I hate having to do that because I'll read a comment and I'm like, fuck, I wish I read that live on stream. That's so funny. Yeah. Cat the Barber says, I gave you all my money last stream, so I'll just say, if God is for us, who can be against us? Bars. I'm not quitting YouTube. LOL. There's literally still going to, even after me explaining this whole thing, there's still going to be people commenting like, so why is he? The forward of my book just says, for Scott and Peter. Ooh, that'd be good. Okay, I think I'm at the part where you guys, are talking about the blank book. Okay. I'm not saying where I'm going. And as a matter of fact, where I'm even going, even if you did find out, is not the final destination. I actually literally think I'm going to be on my James Bond, flying from place to place to always cover my tracks, because I have been amazed at the efficacy in which MLMs have been able to find me. I guess that's, private investigators. That's their whole job. But I plan to stay on the move. By the time I post on my Instagram that I was in one place, you can be sure that I'm not there anymore. 2 new merch orders from alwaysmarcomerch.com. Let me thank the people who did that. Katie, thank you, Katie, with the Suddenly hoodie. Did you use the code GOONS for 20% off? I actually don't know how to tell. Yay, don't know how to run my own business. And Mauricio, thank you guys so much for supporting. Really appreciate that. Mauricio got the also the Suddenly hoodie. Love that. Shifter Art says, Marco, I'll translate vids for you in Spanish. That'd be amazing. Giselle says, 100% Latinos are targeted heavily, and we need Spanish anti-MLM creators. Yep. Scott Schaefer, what up? Okay. What up, Jared? Spec says for $7, I'll tell you guys where he's going. All right, I've made it to the point in the chat where A. Louise Mac gifted 50 people memberships, so I guess I'm going to see a lot of green in the chat going forward. Jennifer Watkins, congrats to all these people who got memberships gifted to them by A. Louise Mac. Jennifer Watkins, Gary Baines, Amanda Del Rey, Gary Winthorpe, Nightwing, Billy Bob, William Ho, Jay, Tabitha, Traveling Lunatic, Coconuts, ZF, Taylor Hernandez, Jessica Taylor, Lindsay Liu, the cult is growing for real. Lindy Roper, Eden Winter, made up names. ADK, Joey K. This is crazy. Manny Cisneros, Chic Attack Jenny, B Foon, Solemn S, Fluffy Minx, Indiana Vice. Who is it? The thing teleported. Now I can't see. Okay, 7-Eleven manager. There's too many. Knight Rider, Alicia. No, Scott Schaefer says you got to stick around and fight, Marco. Don't let them push you out of the country. Well, let's call it an adventure. Let's call it being a digital nomad. Let's call it that. Let's call it James Bond going to a exotic location for his next mission. That's how I'm choosing to look at it. Tyrone Jackson, MX. Crazy. Damn, Marnie says we are out $20,000 after the fiasco with WFG life insurance policy. Sorry to hear that, Marnie. Damn. JJ Acuia, Alexis Ken, Jan Spruill, Derek Cormier, Scarlett, Alex, 7-Eleven manager, Carly. Damn, man. You might need some Nikki for that bag for real. Meredith got a membership. Curly Kate, Faith Steele, Kevin, how's it still going?
God
Okay, that's it. That shush.
Billions and billions. It's all about residual income.
I take responsibility.
Thank you so much, for real. If the bag keeps coming like this tonight, I'm not even going to need to stream for the rest of the fucking month. I thought this was like a, good, I guess, right? Good, who needs it? Okay. I really got to Culo! Yeah, I really got to catch up on this fucking chat. Okay. Bear with me a momento. I'm reading you guys' comments. God, guys, we're all so stupid. Drop more bags. Yes. Thank you, Richard. And thank you, Eloise Mack, for your generosity towards the cult. Look how green this chat is. I love it. Traffic in Transit, Devin says, you are the reason I've realized this is the biggest, most profound problem across the world, contributing to poverty and pretty much every other thing. Thanks for opening my eyes. Thank you, Devin. And I also want to say another thing about problems around the world. I decided a few years ago, I think this was in 2020, I was pressured by people close to me at the time, who are not close to me anymore. I was pressured into posting something a few years ago, mind you, about Palestine. I'll be very careful what I say here. My heritage is Middle Eastern. I'm Lebanese, okay? So I'm very aware of this situation in the Middle East, and I always have been. I decided that when it comes to matters of global issues, I don't say anything. Because it is so easy to get into the trap of feeling pressured to post about something when maybe you don't know all the information and you don't know what you're talking about. I have never wanted to be that person. And also I've realized that in doing that, you will have the best of intentions and then you'll piss off somebody else. So I remember I did it. And then I had somebody who was an old friend, a Lebanese person actually, say, well, when this happened 2 years ago, you never posted, so you're a hypocrite. And it's like, just an impossible standard to be held to. So I have just decided, you know what? I know that I am contributing in my own way to making the world a better place. And I know that what I'm doing is a real thing. It's not slacktivism. It's not virtue signaling. It's not an Instagram infographic, and then I go back to just supporting capitalism and not practicing what I preach. So I've decided that I will focus on making the world better in my own way rather than trying to compete for social credit points and find the most noble, most virtuous cause. Because even if you're trying to, provide funding for children in underprivileged schools so that they can learn how to read, then you're going to have somebody saying, oh, well, what about marine life? You're not doing anything for the dolphins. And then you're going to have somebody who does something for the dolphins, but they eat chicken, and a vegan is going to tell them, oh, well, you're not doing anything. Everybody is just trying their best. Everybody is doing their own thing. So point being, I have made the conscious decision to not get bogged down or pressured into talking about things. Wow. I'll talk about Benjamin Einerson, though. I'll talk about him.
As an actual entrepreneur, it kills me to see these MLM people selling empty dreams. Keep up the good work, brother.
You are a G. Thank you, Benjamin. It's very rare that we get a big donor like that on Super Chat, so that's amazing. Thank you, Benjamin, for real. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. So don't get me wrong. I'm fully aware of what's going on in the Middle East. I'm fully against what is going on in the Middle East. I've just decided, somebody will DM me, hey, can you repost this story about my missing cat? I've just decided to draw a line on that because then, how do I decide? I'm not God. I can't decide whose missing cat is less or more important than somebody else's. So I just don't do any of it. I've just saved myself all the trouble. I don't do any of it, and I sleep well at night knowing that I actually am doing something every day to make the world a better place, and I have the proof that it is working. Thousands of comments and DMs over the last 4 years of people telling me, you're doing God's work. I just had a meeting booked with this company. Now I'm not doing it. I wish I would have saw your video 5 years ago, and on and on and on. So everybody else who wants to virtue signal to shit on me and say I didn't do anything for Palestine, or I didn't do anything for this bill, or I didn't do anything for BLM, or I didn't do anything for LGBT, whatever it is, I'm good. I'm doing me. I'm good. Drake actually taught me that very important lesson. Just do what you do. Do what you do to make the world a better place. You never hear Drake talk about none of this shit. When other celebrities are like, guys, blah, blah, blah. The worst thing was when celebrities did the whole
I take responsibility
shit for BLM, or when they did the imagine all the people. The last thing I want to do as a online personality is be like Gal Gadot and those celebrities singing Imagine from their $20 bajillion mansion. Madness. So I just don't play the game anymore. But yeah. Okay, I'm reading you guys' comments. Marco, we talked about these Drake outbursts. Yeah. Okay. There's too many comments. I mean, am I even gonna get to what I wanted to react to tonight? Who knows? Marco fighting the Matrix for real. Decal, we call it Decal. Legend says I can't donate. I bought stuff for my home gym. That's okay, King. You've done enough. Hello, darling. Thank you.
Marco.
Wow.
Drake.
Actually, let me go ahead and refund that one because I don't agree. But thank you. I appreciate that. Hello, darling. Honest Truth says, bro, you need to stand for him and get a team around you. I agree. Yeah. So anyways, not to compare myself to Nelson Mandela. I know that must have appeared to some like I was making a comparison. I'm not making a comparison. I'm just simply, I guess I am making a comparison. Yeah, I'm making a comparison. I'm not saying that I'm anywhere near as impactful. I'm just making the point that any person who's actually tried to make the world a better place has gone through the shit. Imagine if Nelson Mandela was like, oh shit, I guess I should just be quiet, and became nobody and just faded into obscurity. You know? Every major social change ever has required people literally marching in the streets. And you can think about civil rights, people of color getting the right to vote, women getting the right to vote, same-sex marriage becoming legalized, medicinal marijuana becoming legalized, the end of the apartheid government. Every one of those things that I just listed required thousands of people marching in the street, literally the politicians feeling the breath of the mob on the back of their neck, marching up the stairs of whatever their, parliament building or whatever. So why would I think this would be any different? The most well-funded, well-executed scam and cult movement in human history that even people like Leah Remini who are opposed to cults are duped by and are friends with. It's really another layer. If you went on the conspiracy theory iceberg, this has to be pretty deep down the iceberg, the fact that MLM runs the entire world. I know that, and I'm trying to get other people to realize it as well. Yeah. Ever thought of collabing with Coffeezilla? Search always Marco Coffeezilla on YouTube. There's several videos of us together on his podcast, The Drip. Astro says, Marco, you're the first YouTuber I ever donated to. Wow. And the only Patreon I ever signed to. That's amazing. Thank you. You inspire something in me that knows you are indeed doing God's work. You are a G, Astro A. Also, LOL with your Eric Worre spider legs profile picture. Yeah. Amazing. What up, Mars? E1C1, what up? Shout out E1C1. Okay. Darren R. First time dono from Darren R. and Benjamin. That's amazing. Thank you, guys. This is incredible. How could I quit? How could I quit when I have this kind of support from you guys? Literally, how? How, Sway? Jessica Higdon voice. How? Yep. Thank you. Okay, I gotta just scroll through. Martin Luther King, yeah, great example. He was labeled a terrorist by the U.S. government. Yes, that's true, NPAS. He was labeled a terrorist, Nelson Mandela. Yep. Traffic in transit. Thank you, Devin. Yes. I am moving to another country. I'm moving to another continent. Think about that. I literally am going to become James Bond. I will be training with physical combat and continuing my strength training in the gym and combat sports in a country where I don't speak the language at all. Around other people, I'll be a complete alien, and I'm just going to put myself through it because it's the right thing to do. Yeah.
Marco.
Thank you, Darren. I appreciate that. I forgot that was the sound effect that I put for the $50 super chats. Thank you, Darren. Leaving Commie Canada. So true. We call them communists, frankly. You look at what's going on in Canada, frankly. It's unbelievable, frankly. Marco is Nelson Mandela, MLK, and Gandhi rolled into one, says E1C1. E1C1 trolling, but I love it. The regular pyramid emote doesn't work. Beyond, where's my tech support? Does it not work? Let me click it. Let me see if it works. I just pressed it in the chat. It should work. I'm going to see right now. Oh, shit. How do I close this? There we go. We will do one last BFR stream. Oh, it does work. Oh, so Mars lied. Oh, all good. All good. Okay. Okay. Braden says the wages were the same. I saw in a news article from the 80s, but everything is like three to four times more expensive. I'll just be straight up with you since I'm leaving this place. I live in Canada. I live in Edmonton, Alberta. Nice neighborhood. When I moved into this apartment, they told me it was $1,250 a month. It's a 1-bedroom plus den. Granted, I also had an underground storage space, like locker, and I had an underground heated parking stall. So I thought, not a bad deal. A new management company came and took over the building a month later. They couldn't raise the rent because I was already locked in. But the following year, another new company took it over. They raised it from $1,250 to $1,450, $200. So I've been paying $1,450 a month. A new company came and bought the building again, and they gave me my lease agreement and told me they're raising the rent to $1,820, nearly a $400 a month increase. Mind you, I don't even use the den. It's sat empty for since I broke up with my girlfriend 2 years ago. Because I had, this living room area was where I had my couch and my TV. After we broke up, I never used the couch and the TV. I just sold it, and I moved my office, which was the den, into the main room. So the living room has become my streaming area and whatever. So I haven't used the den. So the only way that I could continue paying the same amount of rent that I'm paying right now is to move into a smaller unit in the same building or a different building that doesn't have the den, and to also remove the underground storage cage, which I could live without. But the point is that that's so fucking ridiculously expensive that they would even have the audacity to tell me that they're increasing my rent $400 a month for something that was $1,250 only 3 years ago. I'm supposed to now believe that it's $1,820? Makes no sense. And on principle, I refuse to pay it. And even deeper than that, I can take care of myself, no problem. Thank God for the goons. Thank God for YouTube. Thank God for Patreon. Thank God for you guys. I'm one guy, though. I'm one young man who works hard, who doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, doesn't party, doesn't go to the club, doesn't do drugs, doesn't waste money eating out. And I can take care of me fine. But what about my life? What about the next 10 years? What about if I want to get married and have kids and buy a house? The rent is never going to go down. It's only ever going to stay the same or increase. You think your landlord is going to come to you next year and be like, hey, by the way, pay me $100 less this year? It's never going to happen. So the math just simply isn't mathing. And maybe I will become a millionaire off YouTube. Who knows? Time will tell. But it's like, is that what it's going to take? Is that what it's going to take for me to have children and not worry about ending up on the street? Like, I just don't know. So, you know, that's also part of why I'm making this decision to dip out. You know. It is not public where I'm going. All right, let me read you guys' comments here. Yeah, Building Fortunes Radio is doing an episode live right now, so when it ends, we'll recap it.
Yo, I just got here. WTF, you mean goodbye.
Michael K, thank you. Yeah, I'm dipping out. I'm leaving North America. Katie, if you want to cancel your Shopify order and use the code, go for it. Archer, I've never seen Archer. Trey Tina, what up? Sorry to hear. Anyone else never noticed that Scott Schaefer and Marco have never been in the same room together? So true. Elle says, I kind of want to be an international MLM buster on the run. Also, you know, there's a lot braver people in this world and in history than me. Easily. There are people who have gone on these social suicide missions and they had kids to take care of and worry about. I'm a young man. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I don't own anything. You know, I don't have a house. I don't have a mortgage. I almost don't exist. I almost don't exist if it weren't for this YouTube channel. If it weren't for this YouTube channel, I would be invisible. That's just the truth. And so it's like now is the time for me to do this. What other time in my life am I going to go have these adventures and tell this story and duck the paid assassins? It's like never. Never. Okay, let me see what's up. Giselle says, this is kind of going back a bit now. Oh, shit. This is when you guys were talking about me saying I'm not going to talk about global issues. Giselle says, I agree. It's so weird. It's a hot take to think that some creators don't need to speak about a certain issue. We don't have all the right information, and there's other ways to be involved with a cause. Exactly. There's a really great TikTok I saw. I wish I had it off the top of my head here, where it's like, why aren't you saying anything? And then you do say something. They're like, we don't need you to speak for us. And it's like, it's on and on and on. People will never be happy. So fuck it. If somebody wants to challenge me on what I'm doing to make the world a better place, I'll do it, because I guarantee you 95% of the people you see on social media posting about I stand with whatever or posting the black square did that and then went about living their normal life as they always did without making any significant changes at all. At all. Root for humanity. So true, Leanne. Mike Brownstone says, I hope MLMs disappear in my lifetime. I don't know how old you are, but I'm definitely committed to it. Actually, I got a comment on my YouTube just before this on my WFG part 4 video or part 3, and a guy said, 60 seconds in, and as soon as I listen to Marco, my ears start to bleed. Let's have a discussion about WFG. You know, you offer no opportunity. KNOW for some reason. Show us your business model and let's put the two to the test. So this person is challenging me by saying that I'm actually the bad guy because I don't offer a business opportunity, and he does through World Financial Group. So perhaps a new debate waiting, because that has to be one of the stupidest fucking things I've ever read from someone in an MLM coming at me. Literally ever. But we love to see it. We love the delusion, mama. Delulu. World Delulu Group. You know. I miss when Marco was a BLM activist. So funny, Alex. I don't think I'll be streaming in December. Also, I want to spend time with family in December. You know, kids will have Christmas holidays or holiday break, so that'll be nice. I have little cousins, nieces, etc. I've lived in Edmonton my whole life, 27, almost 28 years. It's time. It's time for me to branch out. It's time for me to go elsewhere. But it's going to be a shock to the system. I'm going where I know 0 people. I don't know the language. I know nothing. I can't read the signs. And I'm doing this willingly because I genuinely feel privileged and lucky and proud to be part of something so much bigger than myself. I literally feel like every day there are people relying on me, whether they know it or not, because there's videos I'm going to make about MLM companies, and there's somebody walking around right now who hasn't been pitched it yet, but when they are pitched it, I'll have a video out, and for that brief moment of them watching my video and, you know, changing course as opposed to pursuing this scam MLM, for that short period, that short moment, our paths will have crossed, and perhaps I saved that person tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Perhaps I spared that person from becoming the next psychopath, you know, Bob Proctor acolyte who's preaching nonsense, you know, just think away the cancer type nonsense. Yeah, and so I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like as hard as it is to deal with the challenges of this and the paid assassins and whatever, I would much rather the challenges of a purposeful life than being aimless and depressed and having no purpose whatsoever. And I know for a fact that that is something young people struggle with. It's hard to find qualifications to become anything, let alone something you're passionate about and care about, let alone something that you're passionate and care about that actually makes the world a better place and isn't just profit-driven, you know, or something that could be done by AI or a robot. It's becoming increasingly harder. And so I feel like the gratitude that I have for this journey I'm on far outweighs the stress of any lawsuit. And I mean, lawsuits are stressful, yeah, but really think about what a lawsuit is. It's a piece of paper. It's words on a piece of paper. I will never see the inside of a jail cell for a defamation lawsuit. That's not how that works. And if I were to lose a defamation lawsuit and they say, you know, oh, you owe $100,000 in damages, I don't owe anything. How are you going to get it from me? You know, so we'll see how it goes, but yeah. Oh, not y'all arguing in the chat. Marco is so close. E1C1 says, Marco is so close to realizing that MLM is a symptom and the prognosis is capitalism. Well, you know I love your contrarian stances on everything, E1C1, and you know I love you. But I think definitely MLM masquerades itself as capitalism and you know, patriotism and American values, absolutely. But it's not the... It's a correlation, not a causation. That's for sure. Thank you, Traffic and Transit, being a member for 6 months. I'm going to the Galapagos Islands to live with the, you know, rainbow-colored caterpillars. Amanda says, you're also the first and only YouTuber I've ever donated to as well. I believe in the cause and what you stand for. You guys are... real as fuck, man. Yeah, I'll be on Sentinel Island. The Sentinelese people, famously for hundreds of years, have rejected outsiders, and if you try to wash up on their shores, they will throw a spear through your neck with military drone precision. However, I am proud to announce today that the Sentinelese people have made an exception for the first time in history. To me, always Marco. I will be going there, and they will be accepting me as one of their own. And even better, I'm sure they will be treating me as a guest. So if you need me, I will be on North Sentinel Island. There's no internet. There's no clothing. There's no plumbing. There's no running water. But I will be there, and I will be thriving. Thank you. Marco is a mail-order husband. He's about to embark on a life-changing adventure through matrimony. That would be smart. Yeah, I'm going to Latvia, and I'm going to be battling Dr. Doom with the Fantastic Four and together we will take down MLM. Can you know the continent? No. Denise says, you're one of the people who inspired me to do my own channel against MLM. It is completely sad not to watch your stream. Thank you, Denise, and I'm glad to hear that you're doing that content. Gabby, what up? Imagine a world without MLMs, but in the Imagine melody. Oh, interesting. Mars is talking about the anti-pyramid. Interesting. Your family is like a pyramid. So true. Make sure you talk to your aunt and nieces after this stream to keep that head from growing too big. Yeah, right? So much money. He's so rich, frankly. So funny. My niece said to me once, she's like, when I told her something was expensive, or I think, you know what it was? It was last year or earlier this year. I still had my iPhone 10. And whenever I'd play Roblox with them, the phone would get so hot because it's not made for this type of gaming. And I would literally go put it in the freezer to like cool it down. And my niece was like, why don't you just get a new phone? I was like, new phones are expensive. She's like, you literally have thousands of dollars. I was like, a phone is thousands of... I was like, you think... Anyways. I like how she just... Kids have no perception of the concept of money, and I just find that hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm actually almost caught up on your comments. As a Coloradoan, I would pay $1,300 hands down. That's a great deal. That's what I'm saying. But I'm just saying. I'm sure if even you folks saying that in Colorado or New York, it's a great deal. I'm sure you guys also probably feel the same way about me, about the getting married and having kids shit. It's and buying a house. It's like, okay, it's a great deal now, but look at how things have been going up. In 10 years, is it a great deal? I mean, imagine where it's, you get me. Shu Murphy says, for the Americans out there, foreign investors bought up all our houses, and now our average rent is $1,500 to $2,500 a month in every major city in Canada. Yeah, they need to make that illegal. Rich, like, concrete billionaires from China will buy out an entire building worth of condos, and then they sit empty just to gentrify and inflate the price of the surrounding area, and it's like, it's insane, bro. Damn, Eliza, what? I've been in my place 6 years in April, and my rent was $1,400, and it's not even $1,600 now? I don't know how the fuck you manage that. That's insane. Remote is the way. Yeah. BFR should be over now. Okay, let me check it out. Beyond says, as a reminder, with Marco leaving, me and Traffic in Transit are going to take over the Saturday stream to usurp his place. You could try. Okay. Let's start the actual anti-MLM commune. That's the real purpose of me traveling in this, near future, is to find the proper, grounds for my People's Temple cult commune, the Goons commune. That's actually the real goal of it. I got to find the right real estate. Find a good deal. Because where was Jonestown? It was in, Papua New Guinea, right? Thank you, Chic Attack, Jenny. I got to wear the cowboy hat for the last stream. Where is it? It's in the other room. Y'all like my idea of the blank book? No? The black square was wild. Everyone posting it, and then when it was clogging up the hashtag, every influencer had a story on why they deleted it. So funny. I stand with what's trending and makes me look like a good person, for real. How are my nieces taking the move? It hasn't registered for them yet. Literally, my 8-year-old niece is so, in her own innocent child mind world that when I told her I was moving, she said, how are you going to play Roblox with us? That was literally the first thing she was concerned about. So funny. Mooch the foreign goon. Mm-hmm. I'm reading your guys' comments. I'm sorry. This is too good. LOL, you guys' conspiracy theories on where I'm moving. Lima, Peru. LOL. What up, Vince? Vince, I saw you have a video about Julie Anderson. I don't know if I rock with that. I need to watch that and see if I'm gonna still be cool with you after that, because you can't talk down on Julie Anderson, bro. What up, bad dog? Lithuania. Vince says I need roommates for the price I'm paying. Vince, this is a 1-bedroom plus den. No, I don't need roommates. I need to get the fuck out of here. Thumbs up the ting. Damn, almost 300 thumbs ups. Come on now. Marco is coming to NY and we're starting our creatine MLM. So true. Fuck, I didn't take my creatine. I gotta take it. I'll take my creatine on stream. How about? Yes, this is really the last stream. For at least a month. The book should have 1 page, and all the page says is don't join an MLM. So funny. Y'all play Fashion Famous? No, I've never played Fashion Famous. We play I don't even know what the name is of the game in Roblox. Rainbow High and Welcome to Bloxburg. They play random shit. They like playing obbies, the obstacle course ones. That's what they call it. That's what they call it. They call them obbies, frankly. That's what they call them. They like playing tycoons where you just like, it's just like repetition, stacking money and like assembly line shit. They like that. My little worker bees, capitalism. Aw. Yeah, but we did do a fashion show. There was one island game we played, Rainbow Island or something like that. And there was like a fashion show, and I literally won the fashion show just like trolling. It's crazy how competitive and frustrated my nieces get over fucking Roblox. And I try to tell them, I'm like, bro, I've been gaming since before you were alive, literally. They're like, they don't get it. They don't comprehend the passing of time. I showed my niece a picture of her when she was born, the day she was born. It's a picture of me holding her. I was like, you don't understand. I've been me my whole life. I've had to wait for you to like become sentient and like learn how to talk so that I could talk to you. She doesn't get it. You know. All right. Oh, JT Pocket watching. What up? Shout out Marco in the chat. Thank you, JT. Thank you for being here, bro. Appreciate you. Keep doing your good work as well. Okay, Glenn and Vince in the chat. Wow. Craziness. Okay. Vince says, Marco, Julie did a live stream trashing me behind my back without ever speaking to me. Left me no choice but to respond. I love the logic of, like, you know, it left me no choice. Of course, you always have a choice. This is the internet, bro. You literally don't have to say anything. Hot mess. It's the greatest opportunity in the world, period. So funny. Okay. Club Penguin, nope. All right. Life is Roblox. The DJ Khaled clip is so good. Life is Roblox. That clip gets cut. I think what DJ Khaled meant to say was, in life, there's roadblocks. I don't think he actually meant to say life is Roblox. But life is Roblox, if you think about it. And that's a way better quote. That's a way better quote.
God did.
You know? Okay. Glenn and Vince cage match interview. All right, finally, we've caught up on the chat. I'm sure I've missed a bunch, but we made it. Alrighty. MLM is fraud. Glenn says, Vince reminds me of my father. That's not a good sign. He tells me he is helping people achieve their financial goals. Then I ask him to name one, and he can't. Also, Beyond added new items to the bingo. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, let's get on with it then. Let's get on with what we've got to talk about this evening. And it is very important stuff, to tell you the truth, frankly. LOL, I had no choice but to cracks knuckles, teach her a lesson. Oh, and then Vince says, but I have nothing to prove to you, Glenn. So with Julie, you had no choice but to respond to her, but with Glenn, you have nothing to prove to him. Make it make sense. All right, let's react to this first. Vince's video talking about, this is Vince in the chat, the home business king. Also, why do you have so many different channels? What up, Tom Panny? I'm sorry to hear about your relative in Amway. 6 years, constantly telling us they're going to retire. Yeah, I mean, sorry, it's not true. Also, do y'all remember when Nathan said in my ACN video, I'm proud of what I do. I'm a professional network marketer. I help people retire. What a fucking dickhead. Name one person you ever helped retire, Nathan. Shut the fuck up. All right. I sped it up. Sorry, I sped it up. Let's slow it down a little bit. Oh, it doesn't want me to.
Hey everyone, Home Business King here at Home.
Why the fuck does it not want to let me? Here we go. This is Vince.
King here at homebusinessking.com. Reason for the video is I wanted to discuss the FTC report that 99% of people fail in network marketing. Me personally, I'm not a big statistics person or anything like that. And one thing about statistics is that, you know, it can vary depending on what source that you go to. The AARP says that it's 75%. It doesn't really matter. I'll go by the FTC report that 99% of people fail in network marketing. The only issue that I really take amongst this is I know the FTC did a very thorough report, but it seems as though this report is actually discouraging people from actually starting regular home businesses.
Oh, please explain.
And they're all getting lumped in together. So I'm just going to make a general statement on this, and this is also a little bit of advice to everyone, okay, when it comes to running a business, okay? So whenever you start in a business, your failure rate is at 100%. Why is that? It's simply because you've not done any business yet. You've not made any sales.
Pause, bro. I think, okay, hold on, bro. Your failure rate is at 100%. I think I see where you're going with this because you're saying like you haven't proven whether it's going to be a success yet. But the absence of success is not the same as the presence of failure. To say that somebody has a 100% failure at business before they've started is simply nonsense, because if you haven't yet started the business, you haven't lost any money. You haven't put up any money that has then been lost, thus deeming it a failure. So, okay, a little bit of leap in logic here, but let's go on. What the fuck? Why is it lagging? Why would it lag? It's been buffering.
In fact, when you start a business, obviously you're going to be in the negative, okay? Now, if you don't do anything in the business whatsoever, you're going to fail, okay? If you don't make any sales, if you do not do any particular type of activity, you're going to fail. It doesn't matter if it's a network marketing business. It doesn't matter if it's a regular direct sales business. It doesn't even matter if it's a regular job. If you don't do anything on your regular job, if you don't do any work, you're going to get fired. So with that being said, you start out at 100%.
But how can they fire you from MLM if you're your own boss?
Failure, okay? Because you've done no business. You start out with a negative balance when you start a business. Now, what changes that percentage of failure is the activities that you do. You know, once you start making sales, once you start doing business, once you start getting your leads and everything, that percentage, that chance of your business failing goes significantly down. Okay? Plain and simple. The percentage of failure, in my opinion, doesn't make a difference because it's not applicable to someone that is actually working their business. Someone that is going out and putting in 110% effort into making that business successful. Okay? The biggest thing that you do have to remember is you got to stay the path, folks. Okay? if you believe in something, then you need to go all out. Don't just go halfway in.
Okay, well, I think I've heard all I need to hear. I'm not a statistics guy. If you believe in something, okay, first of all, belief has nothing to do with it. Belief has nothing to do with it. Belief is not going to pay your bills. Belief is not going to make you a success in business. We already dismantled the faulty logic of saying that 100% of businesses are a failure right when you start out. That's just nonsense. Having overhead in a business does not equate to losses in a business. Operating costs are not the same as losses. In MLM, they will say that their losses are their operating costs. Again, it's doublespeak. It's a conflation. They are calling it operating costs, expenses, taxable write-offs. Those are the names they assign to what is effectively lighting money on fire, flushing money down the toilet. That's what you're doing in MLM. And I've explained this countless times, that is not because people don't believe hard enough. It's not because people aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. People are not working. People are not taking massive action to produce tangible results and all this fluffery nonsense language that they say, flim-flam. It's because it's a mathematically impossible endless chain proposition. 5 people who recruit 5 people who recruit 5 people exponentially until what? After 13 cycles, you exceed the entire population of the earth. And then when the people who in calendar year A or calendar year 1 realize, oh, I've just been losing money and I'm actually not making anything from this. They told me I was going to be a millionaire in 6 months. That actually is not true. I'm going to leave and go back to work at Subway or wherever they were working before. Well, then you have a new crop of people who join the next year, and this churn rate continues again and again and again. So yeah, I have to agree with the consensus here. Vince, this is absolutely victim blaming. I hate to tell you that. It is not true that people are just not working hard enough. People in MLM, and you should know this yourself from being in it for so long, are the most devoutly loyal, devoted crusaders who believe in their cause. You would never see people who work at like a regular office job or a restaurant or literally a car dealership. Name any business. You do not see people who have the drive and the motivation and the belief and this outward veneer that they've created of this Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street type of, we're going to get together and we're going to build a massive business and they all talk the same way. They all read the same books. They listen to the same tapes, Jim Rohn and Dexter Yeager and whoever it is, nowadays maybe Grant Cardone, nonsense like that. They all essentially become a carbon copy of the same person. And the amazing thing is they're losing money. And then when you show them the numbers, they'll say, oh, well, some people, they're just doing it for the amazing discount they get. They're doing it because they're a customer who loves the product. They're doing it because they're lonely and they want to build a community. So it's like when you zig, they zag. And it's just, they're just slippery, You catch them on one thing, they pop out over here and say, oh, no, but look at this. Just complete madness. It's complete madness. I'm sorry to tell you, Vince, this video, this wasn't it, my king. And you are my king, and I love you, but this ain't it.
Okay? Because guess what? Eventually, whether it's going to be the business that you started or another business, even if you fail at the business that
NPAS says IBO, independent bullshit orator. So true. So true.
you're doing, you're going to learn from your mistakes. And when you start back up that business or even another completely different business, you're going to have a lot better results because you've learned from the mistakes that you've made. So, folks, you just got to stay confident in business. Stay the path.
Stay the path. Believe. Be confident. Pocket Watching with JT literally says here in this comment, red flag. When MLM guys say ignore the numbers or statistics, this is the way. Hold on. This way is a failed business model. Exactly, JT. And JT, you guys can go check out his channel. Holy shit, 110K subscribers, JT? Bro, congrats, man. I haven't checked up on how many subs you were at in a minute, bro. You bodied it, bro. We were neck and neck for a minute. We were both like 60K. Then you passed me a little bit. Then I passed you a little bit. Then now you passed me. What am I at? I'm not doing too bad. 88K. Don't worry, JT. When I get a certain video back on my channel, you'll see the growth again. Don't worry about that. I got you. I got you. Yep. I got you. Okay. Let's keep going. By the way, this is also I want to talk about this. I'm going to have a whole chapter in my guide on rescuing friends and family from multi-level marketing cults. I'm going to have an entire chapter dedicated to exposing this concept of lies wrapped in truth and really dissecting what this means. A great example of this that you'll see in MLM, the way these trained bullshit artists will lead you down this primrose path with these breadcrumbs of truth, ultimately to sell you a lie. They'll say, for example, something like, would you agree that most people who become rich, and actually they'll go like this, they'll go, guys, would you agree most people who become rich don't work a regular 9-to-5 job? You know, they have all these things because they want you to mirror them, like raising your hand. And they're saying very basic, common sense truths that everyone will agree to. And then their reasoning is that psychologically, if you get someone to say yes to you enough times, you're priming them for a big yes at the end. Ed Milet talks about this in his WFG brainwashing not slander. What's the word I'm thinking of? The videos where we watch where Ed Milet back in the day is explaining how he tricks people into the WFG opportunity. He says, getting a bunch of small yeses in the beginning leads to a big yes at the end. So they'll say something very common sense like, don't you agree that the wealthiest people are the ones who own the business and not the ones who work for the business? Everyone goes, yeah. That's the lie. Sorry, that's the truth. Now, what is the lie that they're wrapping that truth around? The lie that they're wrapping that truth around is that this MLM that you're sitting in the meeting for, the presentation for, is that business where you are going to become the successful business owner. You see what I mean? They told you one thing which is true, which is the business owners are the ones who make the bulk of the money. The lie is that this is not that business. The lie is that this, MLM company is going to be the vehicle that takes you there. What's another great example? Lies wrapped in truth. They'll say, guys, what would you choose? $1 million cash right now or a penny doubled every day for 30 days? Don't use your calculator. Take a minute. Think about it. This is like a verbal sleight of hand party trick that they use all the time. I've seen this countless times. If you said that a penny doubled every day for 30 days, you're right. Because the power of compound interest, you guys, says that after 30 days, you'll have X whatever $1 million, however much it is. So this is just a party trick to show how knowledgeable you are, basically, because you've done this like verbal riddle. And now people think, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. That is the truth. The penny doubled every day for 30 days is more than the $1 million in cash right now. That's a truth. Now, what lie are they wrapping that truth around? Well, the endless chain compensation proposition that you recruit 5 people who recruit 5 people. They'll say the penny doubled every day for 30 days is worth more than the $1 million, which is true. They'll then pitch you this opportunity.
Marco.
Thank you, Anna Marie, fella.
I'm so sorry,
Appreciate
but I can't
you.
get Streamlabs to work. It
Thank
takes
you.
me
That's
in circles,
okay.
but I want to help. You are a true hero, Marco.
Man, thank you, Anna Marie.
Seriously, thank you for everything.
Thank you. For real. Thank you, Anna Marie. So they'll say, yeah, the penny doubled every day for 30 days is worth more than the $1 million in cash lump sum. That's true. The irony here, the hypocrisy, is that the endless chain, 5 who recruit 5 who recruit 5, you can apply the same math to it. And it doesn't take 30 revolutions or 30 days. It takes 13 before it exceeds the entire population of the earth. So in one scenario, they're showing how it can be good, but they fail to see the peril of that exact same math applied to their own business compensation plan. Complete madness. So I'm going to have an entire chapter in my guide that talks about the various examples of this they use. There's other little verbal flourishes that they use. Like, you remember in 2021, that company I was exposing, and all the people were saying, I hear people calling this a scam. You know what scam stands for? Still confused about money. Everyone's like, oh my God, this is so sick. All you did was take the word scam and turn it into an acronym that was a bar. Ooh, got him. Still confused about money. Still cooking at McDonald's. Still chilling at mom's. J.O.B., just over broke. Journey of the broke. Jackass of the boss. But you didn't actually address any of the criticisms or explain why somebody would call it a scam. All you did was just do a little nuh-uh. That's all you did. Still confused about money, implying that everyone who calls it a scam, they're just confused. They just don't get it. Again, this like condescension, authority bias, where they try to make themselves look like the big man who knows everything, and everyone who talks down on them is just a hater. We're disrupting the industry. I love when they say that. Every motherfucker slapped their logo on a like stock bottle of shampoo that was mass ordered and attached to this MLM compensation plan and talking about, we're disrupting the industry. We're the only shampoo company that uses a network marketing model. It's like, that doesn't mean you're yeah, it's disruptive because it's fucking annoying. It's not disruptive because you reinvented the wheel. Madness, madness, and more madness. All right, here we go. Let's actually tackle Glenn versus Vince. Glenn has a video here on MLM is Fraud that says, can the home business king really help you build an empire? Let's see.
Vince, you're wrong. You don't do research. You don't.
This is Scott Johnson's voice here.
Know what you're talking about. You just got Robert Fitzpatrick again. So go ahead, Glenn.
By the way, it wouldn't be fair if I didn't read Vince's comment in the chat. He said, and Marco, I'm talking about real home businesses in general. None of my videos have anything to do with MLM. I've already stated numerous times for people not to join one. That's true, but your logic also doesn't work even just talking about regular businesses. Sorry to tell you, my friend. Vince don't want to see me in the gym. So true. So true. Yeah, your job is a pyramid. So stupid. That's a classic one. Marco's moving away, Susie. Yeah. There's a video of mine that was censored that somebody re-uploaded, and it has like 33,000 views on the re-upload. I'm the GOAT. I'm actually the GOAT, that I could make a video that's so good that even without me promoting it or like having it out somewhere, motherfuckers have re-uploaded a lower quality version of it and got 33,000 views on a like random channel. I'm the best. Shout out to me one time. All right, here we go. Let's see. Okay.
Go ahead with your failure rate. Go right ahead.
That sounds to me like a compliment to say that Vince got Robert Fitzpatrick when Robert Fitzpatrick is the most successful anti-MLM debunker.
The researchers like Boner Award, like, oh my God.
Okay.
Researchers Boner. It's Olympic Award. Vince would like that. Vince might even like that.
We'll go into more detail, but
many reasons.
We're almost in.
For many reasons.
We're almost at the end of the show. I could go into more detail, but I wanted to get back to what Glenn wanted to talk about. So go right ahead about Vince's failure rate.
Okay, so Vince has made another error then.
Boner Award. Scott and Peter always surprise me with their new levels of immaturity. It's actually kind of sweet. It's kind of cute. Anyways.
So he thought you were a different person. You did have a court case with Amway, but there was another person with the same name.
Yes, Mars, this family is a pyramid. So true, so true.
That court case. So that's another error. He firstly got me and you confused. He was confused about the 99% loss rate. That's wrong. This is just another error. But what's interesting about Vince is Vince has been doing a little bit of backtracking.
Beyond announcing the first annual Boner Awards. It'll be on this date, November 25th, 2024 will be the first one. Mars says, thank you, Lucy and Voldy. Thank you. Shout out for the one time. Shout out, Marco. Shout out. Shout out you too. I get put in timeout for razzing Drake. Yeah, not allowed. Why is it lagging? It's literally been buffering. That's what happens when you pause. Now I click.
What's interesting about Vince is Vince has been doing a little bit of backtracking. So during a Marco Live, he was saying he agrees with a 99% loss rate. And a lot of the comments in the comment section were like, you know, good on Vince for admitting that he's made an error. Good on Vince for doing that. They respect him, calling him a nice guy. He's then made a video which he backtracks on his backtrack. He cited a study on the loss rate and AARP saying that it's only 75%. So he's in one day he said it's a 99% loss rate. He agrees. He accepts that. He then searched and found a study that says it's 75%. He's also made a video which I consider to be victim blaming. He talks about the failure rate. The chance of failure is not applicable to most people. He talks about most people not doing the work, and that's why they fail. He talks about how in business you've got to stick to path. He also takes the opportunity to have a crack at Scott to say that it's
I like how after over an hour of streaming, there's still people asking, is the title clickbait? No, the title is not clickbait.
stupid to stay in Amway for 16 years. He doesn't use Scott's name, but we all know what he was talking about. Now, Scott and Peter, you guys like his most recent video, don't you? Because you feel like he absolutely nailed it and got it right. I feel like it was a horrendous victim-blaming video, which confirms what my original thoughts were on Vince, that, you know, he's still in that sort of MLM matrix. He believes the lies. He believes that the only reason why people fail in multi-level marketing is...
Yes, he's in the matrix. I love my lingo is continuing.
Their own fault. So, yeah, what did you make of the video, Scott and Peter?
So you do have an opinion on Vince then, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Vince is a...
okay.
He's a
I just want to reiterate, you didn't have an opinion on Peter, but you have an opinion on Vince. So Vince is brand new to this
If Peter forwards me the email, I'll have an opinion. But I don't have the information.
He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it, Glenn. He already told you he's not going to do it. So my take on what Vince is doing is Vince has been in MLMs for years and years and years. He has a lot of experience. What he does not have much experience in is the discussion of the failure rate. He's brand new to that discussion. When he was first talking about it with Narco, he said, yeah, I think it's about 70 or 80%. That was Narco. Yes, it wasn't based on any research. It wasn't based on any kind of thought about what the failure rate is. It was just a guess. And then when Marco said, well, it's really 99.7, he said, well, I'm open to looking at that information. And then when he looked at it, he said, yeah, this looks like it's good information. And then he thought about it some more, and he said, you know, it's really not 99.7 because a lot of these people never even tried. And he knows that because he's been in MLMs. He's had downlines. He knows people don't try. Just like I was in Amway. I had downlines. I know they didn't try. And so this is not based on some theory. It's based on actual experience. And you can't throw out actual experience and try to make a theoretical argument and have any kind of credibility. And so largely, when it comes to Vince, I agree with most of the things he talks about with MLM because we had similar experiences as far as, people that just don't try. And that's just a fact. Now, he has a different experience when it comes to retail sales because he was selling Avon from the age of 13. And he apparently, I'm not disbelieving him. I'm just saying this is his claim, and I can't tell if it's true or false. But I do believe him when he says I had a lot of retail sales. And that was not something that was hardly even talked about with Amway. It was all recruit, internal consumption. In fact, it was a very well-used phrase. It was used over and over again from my upline. And it was buy from yourself and teach others to do the same. That's all internal consumption. And so our experiences as far as retail sales are very different. But as far as people joining and a lot of them not doing anything or very little before they quit, that's spot on. And that's my take on it. Peter, I don't know if you have any different opinion on that.
Nope, we're good. We're going to run out of time. So
we
have about 20 seconds left. Yeah, we have about 20 seconds left.
What did you guys give the latest Vince video out of 10? I gave it a 0.
Which video?
The latest video where he talks about the 75% loss rate, not caring about statistics and about people not doing the work, and that's why they're failing. I gave it a 0.
We're giving Vince too much of an audience. Vince is like a rookie when it comes to this MLM conversation.
You've given Vince too much of an audience? Says the guy whose only audience is my audience. We've given, wow, Peter gatekeeping his second-hand viewership is crazy. We've given Vince too much of an audience, says the guy who only has an audience from talking about me and then me rebroadcasting it. Literally, the only people who know Peter Mingils' name know him because of me.
He may not be a rookie to MLM because he's been associated with MLM before, but in this regard, he's a distributor at best. But talking about this as a critic, he's over his head. So let him mature a little bit. So Vince, you got to grow up. Grow up, Vince. Vince has got to grow up a little bit.
So fucking immature. Grow up, Vince. The irony of him using this like condescending tone to say "grow up, Vince," while also saying "grow up" and not realizing how immature that is amazing.
Young man.
Can you give
Oh no, not young man.
Can you give
Vince has got to grow up a little bit. Young man.
Can you give the newest video?
Him making himself giggle.
Can you please give the video a score out of 10, Scott?
I think he did a really good video. I'd give it at least 8 out of 10.
This is the same guy who gave my last infiltrating a pyramid scheme video, what, a 2 out of 10? I think. Almost 1 million views, all good. So funny. So funny. That was last week. Yeah, we still got to check out today's episode. Okay, we're finally caught up to today in the lore. So let's do it. Let's do it. Building, here we go. It's not going to be on iHeart yet, right? Because oh no, it is. It's already uploaded to iHeart. Okay, I think this is it. Scott Johnson and Peter Mingils with MLM Critic on Building Fortunes Radio. That's the name of the episode. He's already done 3 episodes today.
Welcome to Building Fortunes Radio. Make sure you check us out at buildingfortunesradio.com. Along with our marketing partners, we're here to help our PM Marketing Network Lead customers build their businesses and make the world a better place. At Building Fortunes, we know how much your business means to you and the people important to you. So spread the word, tell a friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world. Now on to our show with your host, Peter Mingils.
Hold on.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody. It's Peter Mingils. Here, I'm going to put this link in the chat for the bingo. And if you want to follow along. And Beyond says there's new options on the bingo. And I think I see one, which is always narco, as well as lack of retail sales. I think that's a new one. Yeah. All right, here we go. Here we go. Keep doing your thing, Vince. Just don't talk bad about Julie Anderson. I'm going to keep stirring the pot, though. We need a BFR remix with a Marco verse. That'd be hard, actually. That'd be hard.
Everyone, Peter Mingils here. You are listening to us on Building Fortunes Radio. It's www.buildingfortunesradio.com. It's a Saturday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. on the Central Side, and we are here every Saturday at this time with a good friend of ours. His name is Scott Johnson. Scott Johnson, this is actually
what are they going to do for a month while I'm not streaming, you know?
His radio show on Building Fortunes Radio. If you go back to buildingfortunesradio.com/Scott-Johnson, you'll be able to pick up all the different radio shows that we've done. And if you looked, we've been doing this for a while. It's been since 2000, I think, and 15. And the way this whole thing got started, I love to be able to tell this story about the way this whole thing got started. I'm going to go quick because we have a guest today. And today's show, I'm sure, is going to be an interesting one. We have a guest today, and like I had mentioned, Scott Johnson called me up after a radio show I did with a couple of gentlemen, Roger Van Blissingen and E. Robert Smith.
Beyond, did you add Roger Van Blissingen and E. Robert Smith to the bingo sheet? Because we need those. So fucking funny. Why does he recap it every episode? Glenn stirs the pot on the board. Fuck. Shu Murphy, I'll be back one day, my friend. The BFR intro formula equals BFR intro equals E brackets Robert Smith plus RGR brackets Van Blissingen plus tool scam to the power of 3 minus retail sales plus higher X fire to the power of always stupid to the power of 200. That is so funny, and Paz. So funny, that comment. Oh my god. Reload the thing. Okay, let me reload the bingo sheet and see. That's so funny. Skip to 12 minutes, right? Vince still wiping his tears, holding his boo-boos about Julie. E. Robert Smith was on my bingo card. Oh my God. Where is it? I see this. Peter insists he will never have Marco on the show. I see the free. I don't see E. Robert Smith. Do I just have to keep refreshing? A wild Glenn appears. This is so funny that I have this. The lore is crazy. Find E. Robert Smith. Where is it? Little girl. No. How come I don't have E. Robert? How come I'm not getting E. Robert Smith? What the hell? And Roger Van Blissingen. Where is it? I don't see it. Bill Keep Jeffrey Babner Travel Max trial is so funny. How come I'm not seeing it, bro? I'm sure I'll get a bingo either way. Oh, here. Peter mentions Roger Van Blissingen. Yeah, okay, I'll take that. Here, let's continue. Play.
Bingo! To all those people, that's like a little bit of a...
Wow. He's referencing the bingo when he says, no way. I unpause already. So he goes, bingo. Dude, 1 minute and 23 seconds. I got to write this down. 1 minute and 23 seconds on the latest episode of BFR. Somebody clip that for me. Bingo. Oh my God, that's going on the stream deck. Bingo. Pete Ming sound effect. 1 minute, 23 seconds. Go back.
Of an inside joke for those people.
Inside joke? Ming, you do not get to claim inside joke. The joke is about you. You are not part of this. We're laughing at you.
Interesting one. We have a guest today, and like I had mentioned, Scott Johnson called me up after a radio show I did with a couple of gentlemen, Roger Van Blissingen and E. Robert Smith. Bingo! To all those people, that's like a little bit of an inside joke for those people that might be listening. I did a radio show with those two gentlemen.
Oh my God. Like putty in my hands, the way they play along with it. I cannot believe that. Just even more proof that all of their audience is just you guys. Bug says I already have 5 marked off on my bingo card. So fucking funny, bro. Bingo with the low quality too. Wow. So close to self-awareness, right? Play along with the bingo. I just posted it in the chat. Wow.
Gentlemen, they're
One more time.
Up after a radio show I did with a couple of gentlemen, Roger Van Blissingen and E. Robert Smith. Bingo! To all those people, that's like a little bit of an inside joke for those people that might be listening.
Yeah, and he's up to date with it too. Like, that's from the last stream we talked about adding Roger Van Blissingen and E. Robert Smith. I need to track these two names down. Who are these guys? I need to track down Roger Van Blissingen and E. Robert Smith and have them as guests on the stream. That's so funny.
I did a radio show with those two gentlemen. They're really smart, educated, anti-MLM critics. So they're critics of MLM. They don't think a good one exists, and they are smart. Like you can have an intellectual conversation with Roger Van Blissingen and E. Robert Smith. Matter of fact, I think E. Robert Smith even wrote a book called Downline. And we had a good conversation. Scott Johnson called me up after that first radio show and he said, hey, listen, I heard what they said, but they're missing one of the biggest things that is, bad about MLM. And I said, what's that, Scott? And he said the MLM tool scam. And I was associated with Amway 3 separate times. I was looking for a network marketing company to join, or maybe a network marketing company was looking for me. I'm not really sure how it went, but I wound up joining Amway the first time.
Where's Tool Scam?
And I found that the tools, which they call the system, was a bigger part than the product sales. And when I was looking at the compensation plan, I didn't see
I got to refresh my bingo sheet again because I don't have Tool Scam on it. Come on, bro. Free. I got to have Roger Van Blissingen or E. Robert Smith and Tool Scam. I don't have it again? I think we can remove Scott references being in jail. That was like a one-time thing. I think we can remove that one from the bingo sheet beyond. Come on, man. Where is E. Robert Smith? Where is Roger Van Blissingen? Where is Tool Scam? I'm missing important squares here. What the hell? Radio show we have. No, man, where is it? You have E. Robert Smith? I'm still not getting it. Radio show a few years ago. Okay, E. Robert Smith. Unusual word in his sentence, yep. Glenn stirs the pot. That's so funny. Glenn stirs the pot. That's so fucking funny. Marco predicts something Scott and Peter are going to say. Okay, this one's going good. Okay, lack of retail sales is about to come up. I know that. Expose themselves as boomers. I mean, the audio quality does that. Damn, this one. Okay, this one's good. Okay, I'm happy with this. That's fine.
Any part of the compensation plan relative to the system. So I knew somebody was making money on the system, which was okay because systems cost money to make and develop and all that sort of stuff. But it was so lopsided, I quit. Then I joined again because I figured, well, maybe I just got the wrong view, maybe the wrong upline or whatever. And then it was the same thing, so I quit. And then the third time I told the guy, if this is the same as the last two times, and he lied. He said, no, it wasn't. And then when I finally figured it out, and he kind of had to admit to it, then I quit the third time. So I was not sure if Scott was talking about the same tools scam.
Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out this For Scott Johnson only part on the bottom of the page, make sure you check that out for sure.
That I was thinking about. So I asked him, do you have a website? And he said, I sure do. It's called stoptheamwaytoolscam.wordpress.com. And that started, and again, I'm going to keep this conversation relatively brief, to Scott and I starting this conversation, and it started to kind of make people aware of not only the tool scam, but also some of the other things that happen in MLM.
Also, LOL, these two options side by side. Scott talks about women and Peter talks about women. So funny.
And I did not know at that time, when we started the radio show, that this would be one of our longest-running radio shows. And one of the reasons why is because Scott really studies MLM. He's interesting and fun to talk to. He's a gentleman who knows a lot, studies a lot, and also when we do these radio shows, we talk about a lot of things that I think if someone listens to, a half a dozen or a dozen of these radio shows, they'll probably be exposed to just about everything there is to be exposed to in this industry, so they can make sure that at least they're aware of some of the issues that they should raise some questions on relative to their decision of whether they wanted to do MLM or not. So I'm a pro-MLM guy when done right, anti-MLM guy that's done wrong, and people that are smart, they can figure out what that means. People that are dumb, they still can't figure that out. And that's repeated, of course, and many times, as you can hear the references to people that might be listening in. But the reality was...
Bingo! He was so quick to say it, too. Like, he knew I was going to pause, and he was right. I did pause, and then as soon as I unpaused, bingo!
As we started doing this radio show, and it's been great. We've done a lot of them on our own. We've done many of them with guests. Some of the guests have been pro-MLM. Some of the guests have been anti-MLM. Some of the guests are vendors or attorneys or people that are YouTubers. Or we've even had some really great shows that kind of expose the similarities between cults and child sex trafficking and other predatory practices. So like I had mentioned, if you kind of listen in, you'll be able to hear a whole bunch of interesting stuff. Now, I'll let Scott do the introduction of our guest in just a second, but Scott's got a couple of websites, and he's going to kind of tell you about that, and we'll review, I'm sure, some of the things before we get started.
Padding the runtime.
I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to all of our Building Fortress Radio listening audience. Hopefully you had a safe and a healthy Thanksgiving. It would be totally out of character if I didn't say, you know what I mean, for you goons. You know what I mean. I hope you had that kind of a Thanksgiving, or maybe holiday travels, but we'll leave that as...
Yeah, to remind you what he said on the last radio show, he said, I hope the goons get Hamased. That was exactly the words he used, and that he hopes we all die in a fiery death. Let me see if I can find a bingo. I feel like there was a bingo for that. Oh, no, just him speaking so vaguely and so immaturely. Like, it's like an 8-year-old trying to be like, edgy with their threats, I hope you have that kind of Thanksgiving. It's like when he said, Marco, just know, what did he say? I'm about to drop the hammer down on you or something like that. This is like earlier this year. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I'm waiting for the big, like, Avengers Endgame Thanos snap move from Peter and nothing happened. He just like said it and then it just passed like nothing happened.
As we continue on our Building Fortunes radio listening audiences with taunting these people. So, Scott Johnson, thanks for being here on your own radio show.
Radio show. Lower the boom.
Hey, Peter, thanks for having me. Yes, we have a guest.
He said he was going to lower the boom on me.
Yes, and I think we're going to have a good conversation tonight.
Yes, that counts as Peter
right,
threatens Marco.
When MLM is done right, we support it, and when it's done wrong, we don't. Now, you don't have to read between the lines with me because towards the beginning of every show, I would say almost every show, we may have skipped it now and then, we talk about what is MLM done right. And it consists of two things for me. The two major problems in MLM today are one that you mentioned earlier, the tool scam. And not every MLMs have tool scams, but the ones that do, particularly Amway, because I believe it's not only the largest MLM in volume, but it also is the most abusive tool scam system. And what we're talking about there are the upper level IBOs, they call them, independent business owners, and they sell things like tickets to meetings, books.
Yeah, no personal attacks. We can disagree and still be respectful. Brian Loro, don't be talking about, speculating and saying mean things about Vince. Like, that's not nice, bro. Rise above, bro. Unless it's Scott and Peter. Fuck them.
Recordings, phone apps, website access, voicemail, it's just all kinds of things. And it's not that they make the profit from it. It's that they don't like to talk about making most of their profit from the tools versus Amway. And I've got several examples on my websites that show that they do make most of their money from the tools. In fact, up to 10 times or more from the tools compared to Amway. So, for those really stupid people that listen pretty much every week and still don't get it, we're going to keep repeating it until the really stupid people, along with her goons, somehow absorb this idea. The fact that is...
Ooh, that's a new one. That's a new one. Them referring to me as her. Ooh, that's a new one. I like that. I like that energy.
I believe RICO fraud, it's at least business fraud, right? Because when you misrepresent a business model to someone that you want to get into business with, that's called lying. And in a business environment, it's called fraud. And I believe it's even RICO fraud. And so that's a big problem. Now, not all MLMs have tool scams like Amway. I know
he's literally edging lack of retail sales. So funny. Is that Scott Talks About Women? I guess that is Scott Talks About Women. Damn, we're crushing this one. This is too easy.
Herbalife does. There's probably others. I don't try to study this too much because it's kind of hard to even figure out how much money is being made. They don't talk about it much.
Yep.
I'm fortunate with Amway because there's been people that were kicked out and they start talking, and that's the examples you'll see on my websites is people that were actually making that money got kicked.
Beyond, will you update the one that says Scott mentions his Facebook page to say Scott mentions his website / Facebook page? Because it could be either, really. I'm counting that I'm counting that.
I kicked out of Amway, and then they just started talking, and I've collected those things and put them on my websites. And by the way, if you go to facebook.com,
there it is,
/Scott Tex Johnson.
There it is. Never mind.
That's SCOTT.
Never mind.
TEXJOHNSON. I've got 3 websites linked there, as well as the link to this radio show, my YouTube, my email, just all kinds of information and ways to get back with.
Have they updated alwaysmarco.gay at all? Alwaysmarco.gay. Oh, I can't reach it. How come? What? Or was it marcomckyber.gay? Marcomckyber.gay? Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it. Nice. They haven't updated it, unfortunately. Oh, that's a shame.
Me, if you so desire. Now, the other big problem, which I believe is either universal or almost universal, I do have some understanding that some of the insurance MLMs do have a decent amount of retail sales. And that's the other problem with MLM is the lack of retail sales. And when we talk about retail sales, we're talking about selling the product and or service to someone who's not part of the MLM compensation plan. So sales to downline does not count.
Alex says, I love how he spells Scott Tex Johnson like it's not the easiest possible name to spell. Every week he tells us it's the conventional spelling. The tool scam actually saved Scott as he quit because of the tool scam. The tool scam is also why I quit. Interesting.
Yeah, that's considered internal
virus,
consumption, and only retail sales is what we're talking about as far as...
It did take a while to get the lack of retail sales. We're 9.5 minutes in, and they haven't even covered the whole bingo sheet. I mean, that's impressive.
People who are not part of that MLM compensation plan. I believe in most MLMs, it's in the low to middle single-digit percentages. I know that Amway was 3.4% a few years ago because they hired an outside company to tell them how much retail sales they had, and they said 3.4%. And we happen to know that number because even though it was a confidential study, one of the people who got kicked out by the name of Orrin Woodward, when he got kicked out, the next day, literally, he sued Amway in California, and that was part of his lawsuit, was he said, yeah, Amway hired somebody and it's 3.4%. That's an illegal pyramid. And so...
Thank you for listening to the episode I'm in. I hope it's interesting.
Is this David? Oh, David's on this episode? Okay, let's check it out.
That's just a fact. And I think that most MLMs have overpriced products, and that's the main cause that leads to that. Now, another main cause that leads to it is the tool scam, because if the upline
Thank you, David.
wanted to maximize their profit, which most people in business want to do, then they would think to themselves, well, gee, do I want my downline out there selling stuff, to customers, retail sales with their limited time, because I'll make pennies on that? Or do I want them to go recruit somebody so that they also buy the tools and then I can make dollars? Well, it's a pretty easy decision. And so it's a very strong incentive to emphasize recruiting when you have a tool scam. But even without a tool scam, with just overpriced products, it's very difficult to get somebody to buy an over...
Oh, listen to what Devin sent me.
Bingo.
Perfect.
Bingo.
Perfect. I got to cut it a little bit, but I'm going to download that right now. Thank you so much, Devin. Appreciate that. That was quick. Bingo. He even does it with his little Peter Mingils inflection too, where it's like, bingo, bingo, love it.
Price product, if there's nothing else in the deal for them. So those are the two biggies. And by the way, lack of retail sales is the definition of an illegal pyramid. We see all these anti-MLM hunters talking all over the place, particularly social media, and they throw around the P word.
Literally not the definition of an illegal pyramid, but all good.
P word, but they couldn't define it if they had to. They just don't even know what it means. They just use the word and they think they look cool, but they don't understand what the word means. So,
Shut up,
so that's
loser.
the meaning of the word, lack of retail sales. And there's no law that defines the minimum, but with Vima and Herbalife a few years ago, both of those companies agreed to about 50%. In other words, if you sell at least as much, and this is a minimum, at least as much as your household uses across the board, then you would have 50%. I'm quite sure that the FTC would consider that to be a legitimate MLM from a retail sales point of view, and they wouldn't touch you because there's plenty of other MLMs out there that have much, much lower retail sales.
I'll know I've made it and I've won the war when Scott and Peter, you notice they never have commented about when I talk about Drake. Once Scott and Peter start talking about Drake, that is when the meta and the lore will have reached such a level that even I will begin to question if it's real. Once Scott and Peter start talking about Drake, I'll know that I have done the impossible. These two old white dudes who would have never heard a Drake song talking about Drake because of me, that is what I need. Well, Peter, he actually has some bars. Dude, if Scott and Peter start getting into debates about Drake or become fans, it was all worth it.
So that's the lead in. We do have a great guest tonight. His name is David. And David, I'll just hand it off to you, I think. You can make whatever introductory comments you want and ask us any questions you want or make any statements you want.
So this is David Poole. He's a goon. So shout out to the goons going on the stream or on the radio show. Let me read your comments. Throw around the P word is a drop. Ooh, somebody clip that for me. Yeah, the P word. Pussy. They're gonna be nice to him, and then they're gonna call him a loony bin or they're gonna say he's a loony when he leaves. BINGO Peter was his name. Oh, can I count Peter? Let Scott keep talking. Yeah, I'll allow that. Okay. Drake's Cakes. I hope that means good. They're going to know what to do with themselves while you're away. So true. Maybe they'll react to old stuff. An AI Drake version of the intro, that'd be crazy. With Drake's voice reading the BFR intro, I need that. Scary Hours 3 was crazy.
You want. This is your show, and we like to have our guests have an open mind and talk about what they want to talk about. So the floor is yours, and welcome to the show.
David, you're here, and before you get started, let me just kind of, I just want to comment. Well, actually, why don't you tell people how this whole thing got started, this whole conversation, so this way they can kind of put some of the pieces of the puzzle together. Because you could be David from anywhere, but there's a specific reason why this whole thing started. So why don't you give us a little bit of the backdrop?
Sure. So my name is David, and first of all, I just have to say real quick, no one got Hamas or burned slowly, so you might have to add that to your Christmas list this year, Peter. Anyway,
no one got Hamas. Okay.
Yeah, no one got Hamas.
Not yet.
So, anyway,
the weekend's not over. The weekend's not over.
You know it. Anyway.
So bad that he's joking about that.
First things first. So basically, you guys would probably classify me as a goon, but I watch I feel like Name That Shall Not Be Named, and basically
why won't they name me? They've only talked about me a billion times.
Been some comments from that side of the field that I wanted to talk to you, Peter, about. So I give you.
By the way, David G in the chat, very important comment, says, Marco, don't forget to start the Goon Layers self-destruction sequence before you leave. Way ahead of you. Don't worry, I got it.
You a call, week and a half ago, and just kind of asked for your comment. You didn't really know about it. So I told you the timestamps, said that you'd listen, called you back the next week because the next episode had come out, and things got a little bit more serious. So then I think me and you had 90-minute long conversation, kind of just going over all the lore. So, I mean, there's just a lot of different moving pieces in this whole thing that's been going on for years, really, but more consistently over the last 7 or 8 months. And it just keeps on getting deeper and deeper and more elevated, and I think that a lot of what we were talking about was maybe things are going a little bit too far on our other side, and then kind of just turned into a whole conversation about MLM in general, which I figure it's probably good for me to start and say that I have never been in an MLM. I've been pitched multiple ACN, Amway, the most recent was WFG, and really I think that's important to understand where I'm coming from. Basically, my wife gets her lashes done by a lady named Tao, and she had approached her during a lash appointment and said, hey, are you and your husband looking for financial freedom? Are you guys struggling with your bills? Do you possibly want to look into an opportunity? I kind of knew what it was, but I'm always curious. I always want to go through with it and see what we find. We ended up doing probably 3 different appointments, got connected with her upline. That led me to watch Marco's video, which I'm sure you guys are aware that he has now 4 parts in that series. At the time, it was just the 3, where he covers WFG. I read Ponzi-nomics and basically came to the conclusion that WFG was not a good opportunity and tried to express that to her lash technician, Tao, to no success, of course. And just through that, of course, found out about Marco, and then this lore obviously has pulled me in even more. But basically, yeah, just the lore of that. And then, of course, you guys have been talking with Glenn a lot recently, and I think
Peace out, Devin.
there's a lot more that y'all agree on than that you disagree on,
Beyond.
and I think that we could have a great conversation about it tonight.
So one of the things that I'll just kind of add to what you had referenced, you had called me, I think even way before then, and so when you called me this last time, you had kind of asked for Scott to give you a buzz back. I don't think you guys connected for whatever reason. And then when you called me this last time and talked about Marco and the direct threats that he's making against me, I just said, okay, so let's just have a
when did I threaten Peter?
Tip off. I don't really watch Marco's videos from beginning to end. I find it's pretty hard to watch. But Marco's got a beef with Scott. Marco now has a beef with me. We have a beef with Marco because he's always so stupid. And Marco basically turns his channel into reviewing whatever we say because he can't really build the channel any other way. So that's really the way it is. So when you called me up and you said, hey, whatever, I said, well, David, you sound like a nice guy. Let's have a conversation. We started talking about whatever's going on with Marco. We'll probably delve into a little bit of that as well because that's always fun. And he needs the money anyway because he raises the most money when we start talking about him and his goons start going back and forth. But there's one of the reasons why I was frustrated, and some people say, Glenn's always saying, hey, you got to have Marco on. You have Marco on. Marco's just so stupid, it's not even worth it. I've had conversations with other people before, but the conversation that I've had with you specifically, we have a nice conversation.
It's not worth it to talk to Marco on the show, but it is worth it to talk about Marco on every show. So funny.
Separated from the Marco conversation, we could either, do stuff together with, he's your kindred spirit, I think, in many ways. We might have disagreements in certain other ways, but you seem like a nice guy. We found out a little bit more about you even before this radio show. So we can have a constructive, I'm going to underline the word constructive conversation about whatever topic you want to have about relative to MLM, because we can have a conversation even if we disagree. Part of the problems with Glenn is I like Glenn personally, but we can have a conversation with Glenn, but he gets stuck on that 99.9999, or that he thinks Marco's the best presenter on the planet, and that he thinks that Marco coming back on our radio show is ever going to happen because it'll be the best thing since Kim Kardashian in a reality TV show. But the reality is no, that's not the case. And instead of sitting there just oh my God, just kind of dealing with Glenn, you got to have Marco back. You got to have Marco back. What for? He's an idiot. He lies. He makes up shit, all that sort of stuff. The reality is that I think we can have a constructive conversation with you. So that kind of lays the foundation and the groundwork for maybe anybody that might be listening.
So you won't talk to Marco, but you will talk to David, the random guy you don't know. No offense, David, but they don't know you. You'll talk to David and say he's a great guest and think we can have a constructive conversation, but you won't talk to always Marco, the guy you've spent more time talking to than your own children.
Or
talking about.
As far as on Building Forces Radio listening audience, or maybe some might be listening in a little bit later on relative to anything else that we might be talking about. So I'll let you comment on that, and then we'll just jump into whatever you want to ask or whatever we want to talk about.
Sure. Yeah, and I guess I agree with Glenn. I think that it would be really cool if you guys brought Marco on the show simply because it would be entertaining, right? Maybe, if you guys think he's stupid, then of course there's that. And I think also, Glenn has he is stuck on the 99.7%. But yeah, and I guess that's really the big thing that I would like to start with, because I talked to Scott briefly, because Scott had called me, texted me, said, hey, Peter got a hold of me, says maybe you'd be interested. We had a short phone call. And then on our phone call, you're like, no way, 99.7. There's no way that it's possible. You said you could rattle off people that are making, that are making money. Therefore, it can't be 99.7.
Yes, Julian, this counts as.
And then Scott had made the claim that he knows, that he thinks it's 99.7% in Amway. So my first question would be, do you agree that in Amway specifically, maybe the loss rate is 99.7%?
I don't know that much about Amway to say either yes or no. I would probably say no.
What? You hired and fired yourself 3 times from Amway.
because 99.7 is pretty close to 100%. And even when I was with Amway, so personal experience. So when I was with Amway the very, 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 very first time, and this was before the internet, was real, where Amway people used to, you come over every Thursday and you order the products and you ship them, or if they weren't shipped, you pick them up locally or stuff like that, and your upline wrote you a check for your commissions. Well, even though I never recruited anybody, I got a check from my upline. Now, it wasn't a big check because I didn't buy a lot and I didn't recruit anybody up at that point, but I got a check. It was a small check. It was a pitiful check. I never cashed the check because it was like $6.50 from their checking account that she wrote out. And I'm like, she needs the money more than I need the money. I'm like, this is the rebate is nice, but no thank you kind of a thing. So even me, on my very first Amway attempt, having never recruited anybody but still bought a product, got a check. So there's nothing, that's the lowest common denominator. The only other low common denominator would be I didn't buy any product. So, but I bought product and I got a rebate check. So when people say 99.7% don't get a check, I say that's bullshit. Now,
once again, in order to disagree religiously with whatever I said, he'll just change what I said. I never said, by the way, and I don't think Glenn ever said 99.7% of people don't get a check. That's not true. I said 99.7% of people at minimum lose money. Meaning, if you take the amount that they did receive in checks, most of which are, even when they talk about their sales, it can be proven that it's internal consumption. Their sales are really just their purchases. They're buying from themselves and then calling it sales. If you give yourself $1,000, I could go on alwaysmarcomerch.com right now and check out as a customer, but I'm buying it from me. So for me to go on there and spend $1,000 and say I sold $1,000 worth of product would be not true because I am buying it from myself. So if you take that amount that they're buying from themselves and maybe, unlikely, from customers, and you minus the amount that they are spending on their sign up, their expenses for, gas, events, books, tapes, on and on and on. Yeah, they lose money. I didn't say they don't get a check. And again, I'm pretty sure Glenn never said they don't get a check. They spend more than they earn. Exactly.
If you change the conversation and you say run a profitable business, like a 99.7% are not profitable, I'd say, oh, that's a totally different story. Well, because if you're in the Amway, let's call it system, some people might call it cult, use whatever you choose, you're losing money right away because that's why they tell you got to keep your job. And the reason why you keep your job is because that's the only way you'll be able to afford to buy all the books, tapes, and functions. So are you running a profitable business?
And Baz says, robbing Scott to pay Peter, then robbing Peter to pay Amway for real, right?
I'd say the percentage would be very few people run a profitable Amway business in the first year. And then they probably quit, or they just become customers because maybe they like the products or whatever. But to say that 99.7% of the people never get a check cut or some kind of commission paid would be absolutely false. So I'll stop there. That's my Amway question.
There you go. Shifter Art says, when I was with Amway, I would have to purchase $200+ to get even like $10. Lame. So true.
So I want to still explain. I want to still explain a little bit more, but when we're done, so we have more to talk about this.
Sure. Yeah, and obviously it's a small point, but and one thing I do want to say is that I think that's what the statistic is saying. It's when Glenn or Marco say 99.7% of people lose money, they didn't say 99.7% of people never get a check. They said that overall, let's say,
get them, David, get them.
And I have a good example. So I have a friend, and I think I told you about this story. The guy Soren who tried to recruit me into Amway 3 or 4 years ago, and basically he was in Amway for a long time. He had a downline, he had people, he had his upline. He was heavily invested in the tools. He was going to all the conferences and everything else. And, he is now out of Amway. I found out about it. Me and him had like an hour and a half long conversation on the phone as well. And I talked to him. I asked him. I said, hey, let's break things down. Like, don't count the conventions. Don't count the books. Don't count any of that. How much money have you spent on products?
Bars.
Right? And then and how much money did how much money in sales did you make from selling products?
You're killing it, David. You're killing it. I'm always worried when goons message me saying they went on Building Fortunes Radio, because it's like I never know what the intentions are. And literally, it actually wouldn't be a bad idea, considering all of my live streams get thousands of views on the replay after the fact. It wouldn't be a bad idea for someone to go on their show under the guise of being like a goon of mine, knowing that I'm going to react to it, like blind react to it, and then just try to like, basically clout chase. And I'm glad that this is not the case. So looks good, David. Looks good. Look, it's checking out so far.
Even if you didn't count the fact that, I had to eat food regardless, right? We all have to go to the grocery store, period. So, you can argue, well, the product's overpriced. Okay, well, forget it. Just, hey, if you ate it yourself or you used the product yourself, don't count it towards the total. Did you lose money? Yes, I lost money. So I think that, we can all say, hey, you spent $10,000, you made $9,000, so you got a check for $9,000, but you still lost $1,000. Does that make sense? I think that's what they mean, Peter. At least that's how I see it when they talk about the 99.7.
I think they talk about the 99.7 as if no one ever makes any money in that company. 99.7 is as close to 100% as it gets. And I think that's...
Well, actually, 99.9 would be closer than 99.7, Peter, but semantics.
That's wrong.
3 out of 1,000. 3 out of 1,000. Yeah, I mean, and if we look at it from
think about it logically. Take out the word Amway. Put any other company. Tell me if that sounds right. 99.7 doesn't make any money.
Yeah,
three out of 1,000 people make money.
As the other person on this call that was an Amway, I would ask you, Peter, did you buy the books, the tapes, the functions?
Not the first time, because I was just interested in the product. And then the second and third time, I probably bought some of the tapes and some of the products because I was told I needed tools to be able to do that. And one of the times, the third time, I think I went to like what they might consider like a...
Peter saying think about it logically is the most like rich thing I've heard all year. Dark Horse, thank you for gifting the membership. Thank you, Dark Horse. Appreciate that. Let's see who got it. Even Stevens, congratulations, Even Stevens, turning green. We love to see it.
A regional meeting where I paid $99 for a ticket.
Yeah, because I always, whenever I think about making money, it's the net profit. It's not the gross profit. Sure, you might make a check for $650, but if you went to a meeting for $10, guess what? You lost $350. Now, I would also look at, now you did make a decision to buy the products, and so that's fine, even though they're overpriced. But the way I always analyze this is because the distributors, the IPOs, have that conjoined incentive that we talk about, from the, what was that lawsuit that the judge talked about, the conjoined burn lounge. The judge in burn lounge said that distributors had a conjoined opportunity, whereas a customer, if you're just a customer, you look at the product, the price, and you make a decision, yes or no, to buy it. But a distributor is being told all the time, my one-line description of an MLM, the way they're promoted, is if you work hard enough and long enough, you'll get filthy rich. And so distributors are willing to buy overpriced products because they're being told by their upline, look, if you want to get to where I am, you got to do what I did. I bought the products, I bought the tools. Those are the key things. And so whenever I look at a distributor buying a product, I would say that that product does not have zero value. Now, the FTC does say that, which I think is stupid, but it does have extra costs. And so when you buy any MLM product and you look at the price, you ought to subtract out the value of that compared to a comparable product on the market, and then only that extra cost is really what I would consider lost money, because, again, you made that decision based on what your upline was telling you, that you got to buy the products, you got to buy the tools to get where I am. That's just, the shortcut is what they call it.
Yeah, well, that's part of the deception too. It's literally called lying. I think people who get into MLM content maybe think sometimes that stuff they're watching, like, don't get me wrong, I'm good at explaining the more nuanced strategies they use to brainwash people, but a lot of it is much simpler than that. Straight up lying. You remember in my debate with Dominic Izzo, I said, Dominic, do we agree that lying is bad? when he was trying to hit me with that analogy of like, if the stripper at the strip club tells you that she loves you, is that whose fault is that? It's like, yeah, she's lying. What are we even talking about here? Whose fault is it? She's lying. Whether you believed it or not, we should be able to decipher that it's a lie. And in MLM, yeah, I feel like people sometimes are looking for like the big reveal of like the tactics being used. Lying. That's it. A lot of it is just lying.
And so I don't give it zero value, but I do say, hey, if it's twice as much as a comparable product, then half of that cost is really lost money. That's how I look at it. And I also subtract out any other costs. And I look at it from if not for the business, would you have spent that money? Whether it's books, tapes, functions, whatever.
And Paz says, if I had a business and I paid $2,000 in chicken wings and I sold $200 worth and the rest went bad, I think my restaurant would be fucked. That's just me, I guess. Exactly.
And that also is subtracted from whatever check you get from Amway. And I think that's really the basis of the 99.7. And I do believe it's accurate. It was considered in the UK study back in 2006 and 7. It was also considered in the Wisconsin case back in the 1980s. They did look at overhead, and they did come to basically a 99.7. I mean, you can argue whether it's 99.7 or 98 or 99.9. That's it's almost everybody.
Is lying to friends and relatives a business? Bars.
And from that perspective, I would agree. And we saw these two, supposedly honest government analyses, and it also lines up with my personal experience that most people do lose money when you look at it from a net profit standpoint. So that's my 2 cents. Now, I do think there's some very small groups out there. In fact, I knew a guy that was in one of these very small groups. They call themselves independents, and they don't glom onto a tool scam system. They actually do emphasize retail sales, and I think it's at most 5% of the overall IBOs in Amway. Now, and I'm talking about the U.S. here. I'm not super familiar with other parts of the world as far as the tool scam and those kinds of things. So, again, I focus on what I know. I don't try to make these generalizations like every single MLM on the planet is 99.7 because that's ridiculous. It's the tool scam that makes it that high. If you don't have the tool scam, then there's no way it can be that high. Tool
scam.
But anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'll let David and you discuss all of that too. Thanks.
He never gets tired, Mama.
Let me jump in, and I'll just kind of jump on what Scott had said just a little bit earlier. There's a group of people, now they may be a big or small, they may be coordinated or not, that are not part of this, what Scott calls tool scam culture. So there are people that sell Amway products. There are people that don't do the books that takes and functions the way the Orrin Woodwards did and the way the Dexter Yeagers did and all the other types of people did. So if you added those numbers in, even if they were a small number, it would still mess up your 99.7. So what I'm rejecting is that 99.7, which equals almost 100%. Take a look at the exceptions, take a look at the small groups, take a look at the people that don't jump into these types of things, and it is not going to be 99.7. It may be a high number. I've already said I don't know how high that number is, but I know that number is not 99.7%. So,
how though?
So David, you can discuss whatever more you want to discuss, and we should.
How
probably
don't you know that?
In general, I know Glenn has Amway tattooed on his brain, so everything is basically a function of whatever's going on with Amway. And even if you mention another company, it always comes back to Amway. It's kind of like a bar.
Such cowards, such pussies. They won't say any of this directly to their guests or like Glenn when he's on the show, but after the fact, they'll just yap on him.
Our magnet, it always comes back there. The iron filings always go back to the north setting of Amway. But if you want to talk about any other network marketing company or any other network marketing experiences, we can.
Sure. So to quickly wrap this one up, basically, I just mentioned it because I thought it was interesting that you guys had differing viewpoints, thought it would make for a good conversation, and it totally did. I think it's tough with Glenn, right, because his dad, he has the trauma from his father, right? I mean, he's got a dad who's been in Amway for over 2 decades, seen him fail for so long, and that's his passion. That's why he talks about it, right? So it makes sense that it would be a really, really big deal for him.
I get it, but I was a little confused. I was a little confused on the last conversation that Glenn and Scott had, because I think Glenn said his dad was making $1,000 a week at one point. And did I mishear that? Or was that real?
For a short period of time. For a short period of time, he was making about $1,000 a week, which is about equivalent to having $1 million in the bank, right? So
right, that's the way it was
for that short
reframed.
period of time. But then it fell apart. And most Amway businesses do fall apart. That's normal.
So let's take a look at that conversation as well towards my 99% debacle.
And Paz, we have a wonderful guest here that we're going to talk over the whole time anyways. So welcome to the show. So true.
When you're running any kind of a sales industry, and of course, people like Marco, they've never run a sales industry because they don't understand how these things work. But if you think
I thought I was a drug dealer. If I was a massive cocaine dealer, I would know how to do sales, right? I would understand profit and loss, right? Which is it?
Are with 8 cylinders. At any given time, not all 8 cylinders are going to be running super duper hot. Like, not every 8 people are going to be peaking at the same time. Not every 8 people are going to be plummeting at the same time. So your sales will never be from any one source. What you're probably going to find is that 2 of the guys are running hot, 2 of the guys are running cold, if the other 4 are kind of flat. And then next week, it's the other 4 guys are kind of,
what are you
the
talking
guys
about?
Hot are now kind of cold and whatever. So what I'm saying is the cylinders are always going up and down and up and down and up and down. That's why they use cylinders on a car as an analogy. When you're running a sales organization, you're always going.
What are you talking about?
Going to have a hot Glenn's dad. Like, there's somebody somewhere or some group of people that don't know any better, and they're making $1,000 a week, and they threw off your numbers. They're always going to throw off your numbers. Now, they might all quit by next week.
Exactly, Susie. The secret to success in Amway is called a refund. Return all those products, right? Also, I'm sure that David, who is the guest on this show, has a device that doesn't sound that bad, which means that whatever devices they are using are getting compressed to the point, like by whatever software they're using, or in the process of uploading it or whatever it is, and it's microwaving the audio quality to make it that bad. Because I know it's just not this bad going in. It can't be.
Or next month or 6 months from now. Or whatever they was doing was just a bubble. It might have been just like a burp, if you will, on the sales scale. But they mess up your numbers. So that's why I go back to the idea of 99.7% is an impossible number. So, Gad, what else did you want to reference as far as Glenn or anything regarding
it? Yeah, I think the exact percentage is really not even the main topic here. The main topic should be retail sales and tool scams.
Oh my God.
They create a very high loss rate. What that exact number is, it's really not that important. We know it's very high.
Yeah.
And so trying to say exactly what it is, it really is not the main idea. The main idea is you're running an illegal pyramid, lack of retail sales, and you're in the middle of a RICO fraud tool scam. And those are the main things that cause a very high failure rate. What the exact number is, I honestly don't care.
Exhausting.
Sure. And I agree with you. And real quickly, I just want to say, I do think that if you asked Glenn today and said, hey, well, has your dad lost money overall through his whole time with Amway, he would probably say yes. And again, that's exactly what the 99.7 is saying. It's not saying that you lost money 100% of the time. It's just that you lost money overall. But anyway, yeah, like you just said, Scott, it doesn't matter what the number is. The fact of the matter is that Amway's system with the tool scam specifically leads to lots of people losing money.
Yeah, I agree. So my biggest argument with anybody that mentions that 99.7 is the number. Has nothing to do with the concept that most people are losing money.
Splitting hairs.
Has nothing to do with the concept that most people in Amway don't realize they're doing a pyramid scheme. And that pyramid scheme is taught from above. It's the transfer buy method. Transfer buy means you don't have to worry about selling. You buy from yourself and teach other people to do the same. And that culture is the message coming from the top. Maybe not from the Amway top, but from the distributor upline top. That's the message. So they are teaching people how to build a pyramid based on the FTC's definition. Now, I have a problem with the FTC's definition because I think personal consumption is real and it should be commissionable. And there's nothing wrong with a lot of personal consumption. There should be sales to customers because that's what a direct sales company is supposed to do. What percentage, nobody's really figured out yet. But the reality is that personal consumption is real volume because there's work done on getting personal consumption. Where the deception comes from is whether you're going to be rich as a result of this. And that's where Amway falls apart by letting their leaders talk about the lifestyle of rich and famous not being generated by the tools they think the average person doesn't know any better, so they're just doing what they're told, and there's where the deception lies. So the Amway deception is in the pyramid portions of the Amway deception because they don't really promote retail sales. Now they're trying to, and there's a couple of things we can probably talk about if we want to, relative to Amway being, I don't think the word is sued. They're being, fined in India for.
He caught himself, fined and sued. That's like the meme NPAS made in Discord in the Losing Fortunes radio tab, the mugshot of Peter that says fined and sued. He almost he caught himself right there. He almost slipped.
Money laundering, and we can talk about that maybe some other time, but the reality is part of the cookie is crumbling with Amway, I believe, at least overseas. So is there any other comments you want to make or any other topics you want to talk about?
Why does it feel like Peter's trying to rush David off the show?
We are done about the 99.7 for sure.
Okay,
let's jump over to Marco.
Let me do one last thing. Because I was a distributor in a network marketing company. I've been a distributor in many network marketing companies. I've been a distributor in companies that I don't even know I was a distributor in, meaning, and that might be pretty hard for people to kind of figure out because they don't understand the industry. But people like me, sometimes people say to me, hey, listen, I'm going to put you in. I'm going to give you a spot. I'll pay your way in. I'll pay your monthly. You know, you can either keep the product or you ship.
When I meet Peter, I'm going to put my arm around him and do that thing, that little, when you rub your knuckles in his hair, I'm going to do that. Maybe even give him a kiss on the forehead. Tell him he's a good kid.
Ship him back over here. I know you're a good guy. You'll be able to build this thing. You'll see you'll see the light. And they sign me up, and they have me. I'm a distributor in more companies than I probably even know about. So I'll just kind of leave that. So I've been a distributor. I've been a leader, quote unquote. I've hit regular levels, and then I've been a company owner. I've been a partner in an MLM company. Now, do you think if I am an owner of an MLM company, I would know if we're cutting checks to people? The answer would be yes. We cut a ton of checks to people, and they were running profitable businesses in my network marketing company. So for those people that say, no, you can't, it doesn't exist, there's nobody that's done it before, that's not true. I know it. I mean, my signature's on the bottom line on some of those checks. The reality is I knew it. And, stupid asses like Marco. Oh, you ran a pyramid. Stupid ass Marco. You don't even know what a pyramid is. And you're the self-proclaimed guru. And just for those people that are wondering, who is this guy Marco? Let me give you a little bit of...
You don't need to explain to my audience who's listening to this who I am, but go on. But my ego can't resist.
Of a snippet for this little guy, this little man called Marco.
If I'm going to try and masturbate in public and hopefully nobody catches me. If I'm going to try and masturbate in public and hopefully nobody catches me. If I'm going to try and masturbate in public and hopefully nobody catches me. If I'm going to try and masturbate in public
just
and hopefully
looping
nobody catches me.
So that's
I'm going to try and masturbate in public and hope nobody catches me. Fuck, where was that from? Where did I say that? Honestly, there's been literally hundreds of hours of live streams over the years, and with that quality, who could even tell? They've microwaved the quality. Where's that from? Maybe that was me talking about how the WFG folks have said to me that have said to people that I was arrested for masturbating in public. That's another one of the rumors that I've heard spread about me from people who have gone to WFG meetings in Vancouver. They told me, oh yeah, I brought you up. I brought up your videos, and they said that you were arrested for masturbating in public. I wonder where this is from. This guy's hilarious. Gotcha. Yeah, literally, gotcha. Where's that from? Peter recorded that with his Walkman and is playing it over his rotary phone, right? Huh. I don't know where that's from. Shit,
Marco.
I wish I did.
So just for those people that might be wondering, I mean, that's his whole goal. So moving on to other things.
It's his whole goal to masturbate in public.
Can we both at least just be honest and admit that clip? That clip is from a short film. You know it. So, but he didn't actually say that about himself. It's from he was acting. So
he did. He was being interviewed.
Oh, wait, what's it from, David? You know? Tell me what it's from.
Interviewed.
Don't let him cut you off.
Okay, I got more.
I thought it was from.
But you want the one? Do you want the ones he left from me?
Anyway.
We can. If you want a character assassination, we can go over real words that he's left on my voicemail.
Do it, bro. What do you mean character assassination? The voicemails that I've left you, I left live on stream. People watched me. I broadcasted me leaving you the voicemails. What are you talking about? I'm gonna call him right now.
We'll do that later. We'll save that for later.
Sure. Let's how about we cover what he said publicly first? There we go.
Sure.
Let me call Peter right now. I gotta call Peter right now. I gotta get some clarification on this. I'm gonna call Peter right now. I think this is the number. Calling Peter Mingils. Come on. He's watching. Bingo. Peter? I know you're there. Oh, he hung up. Oh, fuck. Peace out, Beyond.
So basically, let's bounce back then. So the first time I called you.
He literally picked up. He picked up and he hung up. I'm going to call him again. I got to call him again. Mini inch Winky. So true. Where's the button for that? I'll just keep calling him. Where is Winky?
Balls.
Oh, that's not it. Peter.
Winky. Your little mini inch Winky.
Peter, I know you're there. Don't hang up. I need to talk to you. It's important. It's actually serious. He hung up. Fuck.
2 weeks ago, and it was basically he had made a comment. Was that I can't remember what time slot. Anyway, I told you the time slot, and the comment went something along the lines of, "I'm currently working up a plan with my secret agent that will make Peter Mingils cry himself to sleep every night." Something, or that Peter Mingils. I have something in the works that's going to change his life forever.
Yeah, I remember you said it to me. I listened to it. I don't recall the exact phrasing, but there's several things I want to say there. Number one, Marco is the king of make shit up. So Marco makes shit up. Now his goons, some of them I am sure have talent. So I don't even want to call those his goons. Those are his inside guys, like people like Dave Vaughn. Like Dave Vaughn's a smart kid. He's a teacher. He lives in another place. He's got his own persuasions. I'll leave it as that. But Dave Vaughn is not he's not a stupid person. He's
a teacher. He lives in another place. What?
Contributed a lot to some of the stuff that we've had over here. He would be one of the inside scoop types of people that probably helped uncover different things about Scott, maybe even his pictures. There's some other people that he calls out. So there's not all stupid people that follow Marco, which is somewhat surprising because usually smarter people have probably something better to do. But who knows? However, they might be attracted to Marco. So when he says something like that, I don't underestimate their level of ability. Because Marco says so many stupid things. He's a liar and the king of make shit up. So I'm not really worried about Marco.
So true.
I don't, like when people say we're going to make you cry, or we're going to control every waking minute of your day. I hate to say it. You're not that important. You don't have enough listeners. You couldn't do anything. I'm not doing anything illegal, so it's not like, you found out that I'm doing anything illegal, so you can't, put me in jail or shut me down or any of that sort of stuff. So I really discount those things as just being trash talk. Now, having said something like that, if they did anything that could be...
Peter, what I have planned for you, Peter, you'll wish you were in jail. That's how surgical I'm going with the dismantling of your life. Just wait for it, please. Oh, there's an error with the episode for this show. This happened last time, too, remember? And I had to, refresh it hella times. What the heck? What the heck, bro? What the fuck? He picked up and hung up. Yup, for real. Wow. Wow. Peace out, Mars. Thank you. Wow. He took it down. Go on Blog Talk. Damn. Try again. Look, come on. I'm at 43 minutes, 41 seconds. Error. Wow. Wow. Blog, Talk, Radio, Building Fortunes, Scott Johnson. Let's find it. Here we go. That was crazy.
Is that?
Because Han of checks to
that will make Peter Mingils cry himself to sleep, change his life forever.
That is, we've had over here. He would be one of the inside scoop types of people that probably helped uncover different things about Scott, maybe even his pictures. There's some other people that he calls out. So there's not all stupid people that follow Marco, which is somewhat surprising because usually smarter people have probably something better to do. But who knows? However, they might be attracted to Marco. So when he says something like that, I don't underestimate their level of ability because Marco says so many stupid things. He's a liar and the king of make shit up. So I'm not really worried about Marco. I don't, like when people say we're going to make you cry, you know, or we're going to control every waking minute of your day. I hate to say it. You're not that important. You don't have enough listeners. You couldn't do anything. I'm not doing anything illegal, so it's not like, you know, you found out that I'm doing anything illegal, so you can't, like, put me in jail or shut me down or any of that sort of stuff. So I really discount those things as just being trash talk. Now, having said something like that, if they did anything that could be criminal, well, that's easy enough to figure out, you know. So I hope they don't do anything like that. But, you know, what do you do to people that do things criminal? Well, charge them, put them in jail, fine them, do whatever. So, I mean, you have the resources to be able to do all that sort of stuff if we need to. Always stupid Marco, having said that, certainly kind of put himself in a possibility of having a lot of things subpoenaed. So he'd have to delete all the evidence or whatever, and that's pretty hard to do. So the reality is if anything stupid happens, you know, that would be dealt with appropriately, let's just say. So, sure. Do I think it? No. Marco just trash talks. You know, he'd pee his pants if he was ever in front of me and or Scott. What? You know, he's just you know, I'll just leave it at that. I mean, just a little fucking.
I do personally think he has a lot of balls. I think that's why people like him. I mean,
David, don't interrupt him. I wanted to see. Peter was saying he's a little fucking what?
Look at like his WFG Part 1 video where he goes into that meeting with 200 people and is willing to stand up and say the thing. One of the other lines that you love to make fun of, the 5 and 5 and 5. He made that comment in front of all those people at that WFG conference. I mean, that takes balls, you know. So I don't know.
No,
you know, I have a feeling
that's stupid. That's knowing that no one's.
That takes what? Takes
balls. Going to be able to kick your ass publicly. That's just kind of like, look at this.
Oh, it rhymes with gag. LOL, I love that.
Look at this asshole who does this sort of stuff in front of other people who thinks he's going to get away with it. And, you know, there's the Goodbye movie, you know, Marco's supposedly moving. I'm not even sure if that's true.
I did. Bro, what do you mean? I literally did make the video and nobody kicked my ass. And I did make a sick video off that. What are you talking about? I did get the last laugh.
But the reality is Marco's supposedly moving because of some of the challenges that he's had from other sources. So I don't know. I think Marco, I really think, and I spoke about this to you privately, so I hope you don't mind that I speak this publicly. I think Marco, if there was a shrink or people that study like mental illness, people would be able to easily define the type of mental illness that Marco has. Now, he's a highly functioning mental idiot, but the idea that he's got the mental illness of this guy can't even tell the truth, he makes shit up as he goes along, he's stupid enough to do the things that he does publicly and also, like his drug dealer video, put it online.
Why is that not on the bingo sheet, drug dealer?
The things that he said on my voicemail, leave it on something that could be recorded and played back. I mean, the idea that he's stupid enough to do that certainly tells you that he's mentally not very smart. So
bingo.
He's not really. He would. He'd pee his pants within the first minute of being in front of me or Scott, for sure, alone in a room. Like, he pee his pants.
Let's do it then.
Within.
Ming, you literally talk shit about saying I would pee my pants if I was in front of you in person. You're too pussy to even talk to me on the phone. You won't even face me over the radio waves, bro. What the fuck are you talking about?
30 minutes? It'd be over. Like, it'd be over. And the 30 minutes would be, like, so much fun. It would take 30 minutes to have that much fun. So
pause.
Guys like Marco are guys like Marco. You know, you see them, they're the little peons. They don't know.
He's so stupid. They're so bad with their words. They're so not eloquent. Guys like Marco are guys like Marco. What does it mean?
What they're doing. You know, they trash talk. They're keyboard warriors. But you get them in front of a room with somebody that knows how to handle themselves.
Literally, David just brought up to you an example of me at a WFG meeting with like over 100 people there, and me standing up and confronting them, my letting my nuts hang ability and running up on people in person, even just in April of this year, I did it, going to the WFG hockey game, holding a sign and shouting WFG is a pyramid scheme in front of all of them and their friends and family who were there, and nobody did a fucking thing to me. They stood far away, looking down at their phone, down at their shoes, ignoring me, hiding from me, and calling the security on me. What are you talking about? I literally standing on business everywhere I go with this MLM shit. I literally thug it out everywhere I go. What's his name? Dan in the conference room asking the little Asian lady who was the server there at the banquet that they were setting up, can you ask him to leave, please? He doesn't have a ticket. Grown-ass men. He's such a bitch.
And Marco would be, he'd be dead meat. If he was in front of me, he'd have a pee stain on his pants within the first 30 seconds, maybe a minute. I might be underestimating. I'll give him 2 minutes. Be that or he'd piss his pants for sure.
Guys like Marco will always be Marco.
If it ever does happen, I hope that it's on camera. And
I will tell you, if it's on camera, it will be because of him doing it on camera.
Yeah, I want it on camera.
The reality is, but here's the other thing. But David, I just got to tell you, besides the conversation we're having right here, he's not worth any time. He's got no audience. Anybody that would listen to this guy previously.
The irony of them saying that while talking about me right now and every other time.
He's got nothing. He's what, a few hundred people that may watch him that are themselves, the majority of them worthless. I mean, they're just like, they're chat warriors. They're little peons.
Yeah.
They're snipers. They say stupid shit. And that's the reality behind them. And unfortunately, they think they have a voice, but, that's what makes the internet the internet.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
what?
I would say that
guys like Marco are guys like Marco. That's what makes the internet the internet. It's so funny.
Of course, if you tune into one of his live streams, he might only have, a maximum of 400 people listening at a time. But, people cycle through. I would imagine that of his 88,000, I think they're real. I know you guys don't think they're real. I think that he has a lot of people that subscribe for maybe his stand-up comedy, or maybe they subscribe for his music videos back in the day, or maybe they subscribe just because they wanted to watch that one WFG video, and now they, that's all they were there for. They subscribed, and now they just never watch. But anyway, regardless, he probably does only have about 1,000. At maximum, I imagine there's 1,000 people clicking through on the video on each live stream. So it's only 1/88th of what his subscriber count shows.
And some of them, he does serve a function. For the other people that are probably mentally ill and they need friends, Marco's their friend. So the good thing is that Marco is keeping these people at bay. I mean, he's just like he's babysitting people that need a friend. So I don't want to be that cruel to people that are mentally ill.
I don't want to be that cruel. Also, the same guy who said, I hope his fans get Hamased on the last episode. So, in the Matrix. Also, if me doing this is just because people need a friend, how do you explain you and Scott doing your show every week that nobody listens to? Is that because you just need a friend? It's crazy.
But they're probably socially, retarded. They're probably a little bit slow. They probably, are the types of people. And I'm not bashing these types of people. Maybe they were born that way. But the reality is, that's Marco's crowd. Now I have the question for you.
I hope they get Hamased, and they're probably retarded, and they're probably mentally slow. But I'm not bashing them.
What would you do? What would you do in a similar situation? So let's flip the table and reverse the roles. Would you be concerned about Marco? Or his goons, or anybody else in his listening audience?
Sure. Yeah, so I think that Marco has a ton of balls. I think if you look at like his WFG Part 4 video where he went to that ice skating event and directly confronted people that he strongly suspects either took down videos of his, or like the gentleman who he goes to his gym that he ended up trying to lie and say that Marco said all these mean things to him, and then he had to go to the gym manager. I think that a lot of what Marco does.
And Paz, that reminded me of that too. I'm Peter Mingils with What Would You Do?
For the content, but I don't deny. I think he is a smart guy. I hate to say it, Glenn. I'm sorry. And I guess,
Why do you hate to say it?
You guys classify me as a goon. It's funny. People tell me I'm socially retarded all the time. So, you know what? I'll take that one. I am definitely socially retarded. But as far as stupid, I mean, anyone who talks about IQ normally doesn't have anything to flaunt. But it's 130. So, I mean, you could call me stupid or not. I've definitely made some stupid decisions in my life. Here's what I think. I think that Marco, he's in the business of making content, right? I mean, that's what he does. He makes content. I mean, I hate to say it, but you guys are good content, regardless if he's ever going to do something.
His channel and his donations die when he's not talking about it. He's got no other.
This is so crazy how deluded they are. Their only audience is my audience, right? People only listen to them through me rebroadcasting their show. But it has gotten to the point where they believe that I only have an audience because of me listening to them in the first place and not the other way around. Mwah, I love it. It's absolute madness.
Real content. Meet some Milet guy, meet Zig Ziglar. I mean, listen where this guy is struggling for content. He's got no content if it's not for Peter Mingils and Scott Johnson.
Fun fact, my streams about Scott and Peter actually prove. You can go look at my most popular or sort my live streams page by most popular. The streams that are explicitly about Scott and Peter are not my best performing streams by a long shot. Those meet Zig Ziglar, meet Guillermo Haro, meet Ed Milet videos all do way better. I just do this because it's so fun and so funny to talk about Scott and Peter.
Let's admit it, Peter. Peter, you're an entertaining guy too, right? I mean, I personally like the way you talk. I mean, and let's be real, you just said some pretty messed up shit about Marco and his followers, which even if it's not true, it's fucking funny to listen to, right? So, you know, it's just like the Hamas comment last week, dude. That shit is funny. That shit is funny.
No, it's
regardless, not. Right? So, as far as I'm concerned, can you blame Marco for wanting to talk about it? It's funny. So, but I think the fact that you guys are obvious. I mean, you guys are anti-MLM when done wrong, pro-MLM when done right. He would be in the category of just anti-MLM altogether. So you guys are probably united on more than you're actually against, but I think that the lore has built up to a point where you guys almost have to hate each other. Would that be fair?
I don't hate them. I love them.
Scott, I'll let you. I don't want to hog this part of the conversation. There's lines that are crossed. You could trash talk. And then you could cross a line. Marco's crossed too many lines.
Hello, me. I crossed the line. Said by the same guy who said, I hope his fans get Hamased on the last week's episode. But I crossed the line. What did I do? Because I left you a voicemail?
So, so Marco's crossed too many lines.
The main line he crossed for me is when he was talking about being a cocaine dealer. I will not associate you with that type of a person.
What?
So it's over. You know, as far as him being on the show, it's over. I just don't associate with that kind of a character.
Like we broke up. It's over.
Now, he's done many, many other things. He's bragged about stealing from all kinds of different companies and just flat out lying. In fact, he's even said on his own show, I'm a very good liar. So, you know, why would you want to associate with someone who brags about stealing from companies, being a cocaine dealer, lying? I mean, what's to be gained from associating with somebody like that? There's nothing, and he doesn't bring anything unique to the table. He's just echoing all of the other anti-MLM Huns out there that are just as clueless. They just don't do the real stupid things that he's done. So, you know, that's where I come from. I don't hate him as a person. I hate what he's done. But, you know, it's up to me who I want to associate with.
Double bingo.
And I don't want to associate with him.
And just to use as an example relative to the lying things. Yeah, just to use an example relative to the lying things. He's like, lying is bad. When he's talking to, I forget which debate he was doing. I think he was doing a debate with
Dominic Izzo.
Dominic. He's like, lying is bad. Lying is bad. Lying is bad. Lying is bad. And yet, you know, next video, he's just as bad as, I hate to say it, Eric Worre. Because if you ever watch Eric Worre, you say, wait a minute, on this video you said this. On this video you said exactly the opposite. So Marco, when you're talking to Dominic, and Dominic is saying something, he's like, lying is bad, and then you go on the other one, he's like, I'm a really great liar. So you realize the guy's just mentally confused. He's mentally deranged where he cannot see that separation, and that's why he says he has a mental illness. Now, he's not retarded, and that's why I said he's got a highly functioning mental illness, because he's a quick thinker. Even what he said about me and Robert Fitzpatrick, he made shit up as he went along when he listened to Robert Fitzpatrick's words. He made shit up as he goes along. The guy's like, holy shit, Marco, you can't even tell the truth. Like, you are a pathological liar. Like, I know people that are pathological liars.
I bet you
and
do.
I've lived with them. I've worked with them. And I can identify them. This guy's a pathological liar.
Talking about himself, I've lived with them. I've worked with them. I've seen them in the mirror.
So that's one of the reasons why there's very smart pathological liars. And when you say smart, like highly functioning, they're good at being a pathological liar. But that's Marco. So back to, not to distract, but I just wanted to point out some things that Scott referenced and just to kind of give some people some specific examples. Watch his videos, and then you'll see what he's talking about. And like, for instance, even this move, I bet you, now I don't care, because like this move that he's making, he's either got no money because his donations are down, or he's scared for shit because somebody at that WFG thing that was sitting there watching them in the attendance that didn't say anything found out where he lived and is probably going to beat the shit out of him, or worse. So if any or all of those things are happening, I don't know if he's moving. Like, the reality is, he could be thinking that he's outsmarting everybody else. He's not moving. He's going to stay exactly where he is. He's going to do enough of these videos. He'll change his little background. He'll make up some stories because he's a pathological liar. No one knows anything about Marco. And the reality is, if he's going to be fleeing the country, yeah, right, I'm sure he's fleeing the country. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? How are you going to provide for yourself? I mean, it's just a waste of time. So anyway, back to whatever else you wanted to bring up.
Sure. So let's tie that all together. We're coming into the last 30 minutes here. So I want to tie in what you just said. So you're talking about how, is he really leaving the country or not? Scott, you had mentioned that...
Congrats on bingo, Giselle. Yes, that does count as me talking about my apartment. Do they have that on here? No, not on mine. Shit.
You don't feel that he brings anything new to the table, that the anti-MLM Huns, as you say, do. Now, the one thing that I think is a key factor that kind of brings these two things together is the fact that there is something unique that he does bring to the table, and that is MLM infiltrations. Him doing the exposés like he's done for WFG, ACN, and most recently Primerica, which then ties into what you were just talking about, Peter, the fact that he's getting sued for it, right? And clearly he has, even though he's never been sued by WFG, he clearly has beef with them, right? The guy at his gym that tried to lie about him assaulting him or whatever else, right? And for those reasons, that's why he's, in your opinion, quote-unquote moving, but maybe not actually moving, right? So that's an interesting point that I've thought about, and I wanted to ask both of you the question. Let's start with Scott, since you haven't had a chance to talk too much. Scott, do you think that Marco's take on I Am Academy and Primerica was wrong? Let's start. Do you think he's being wrongfully sued?
No, I don't think he's being wrongfully sued because he did the infiltrations.
People that are wondering,
skipping ahead.
I predicted it. I just said, I don't have to do anything to Marco. Repeating, I don't have to do anything to Marco. Marco is going to do everything to himself. And that's what we're watching. And his game...
Yeah, you're watching me crumble. His channel is dying. They say it every time. And Paz says, he's a pathological liar. He acts like he lives in a mansion, and it's a freaking green screen. Oh, no, it got me.
Plan is so ill-advised. So it's designed to fail. His infiltration thing is designed to fail. He doesn't have what it takes to be able to do it. His way he does his videos designed for failing.
I've done it so many times, though.
The people he associates with, designed for failing.
Who?
And I hope he's successful to the degree that someone would be successful here, which translates into you're destroying your financial future and your reputation because your name's out there, pal. And unfortunately, it doesn't go away on the internet. So you are destroying any possibilities of future growth legitimately. I mean, you're cementing yourself into some place you're not going to be able to get out of at 27 or 28 years old.
I am 27.
And I'm enjoying the process. So having said that, always stupid Marco. Ooh. Now, if you said, do you feel bad for him?
David, have you seen the Rumble video where we talked about being a cocaine dealer?
I have not. I know I've listened to you guys reference it multiple times.
Well, if you go to rumble.com, there's a user on there called TexTex, TEXTEX, all one word, and it's a 2.5-hour video, and he talks about being a cocaine dealer along with his buddy Philip and a bunch of other stupid stuff in that video. And if you watch that video, and I say that's why I don't want to associate with the guy, I think it becomes pretty obvious.
Yeah. No, and Scott, I don't. I mean, drugs have ruined. You guys, we had a conversation just before I got on the show about how I have an identical twin, and his life has been ruined through cocaine and meth. I mean, absolutely ruined. And if I had a chance to meet the guy that's been selling him all this shit for the last 5 years, I wouldn't want anything to do with him either. Let's just put it that way. So I totally understand that perspective and why you wouldn't want to associate with him because of the drugs. Now, I also do think that when you're young, and I mean, I'm from his same generation. Me and Mark are almost the same age. I can tell you that there's nothing, almost every person in our generation wanted to be two things when they grew up, either an astronaut or a YouTuber. I mean, that was the dream, right? So I don't put it past someone when they're 19 or 20 to go online and admit some things they probably shouldn't have admitted in hopes that they would get clout. Now, does that make it right? No. But at the same time, when you put all your cards on the table, it's really easy for people to hate you for something. So, I mean, I've grown up my whole entire life being a very talkative, outspoken person, and I'll tell you what, I've been not liked by most people. I was bullied all the way through high school because when someone doesn't talk,
on the next episode, they'll make fun of David for being bullied and talk about that.
The only thing you can not like about them is that they're not talking. But if they talk all the time, you can very quickly find something that you don't like. Again, though, not taking away the fact that you don't want to be associated with a cocaine dealer. Again, I would punch the teeth out of the guy that keeps selling my brother meth. So I feel you on that for sure. So, but now, real quickly, though, I want to go ahead, Peter.
To use one example, it may be either you heard it or didn't hear it, but one of Marco's guests, Scott, I think her name was Eliza, I'm not sure, had a problem with drugs. And we had her on our radio show, and we had an interesting conversation about drugs and issues.
Glenn and Vince, I forbid you both from going back and forth in my chat. Either agree to do a debate or shut the fuck up.
Because for those people that are unfamiliar with my son, he had a problem with drugs as well. So, we can have constructive conversations about the real challenges associated with drugs.
Please don't body your family again, Peter. Yep. Peter, don't talk about your family. They might not want that out there. The same as you say, I might not want me talking about certain things out there, which is purely speculative. How do you know your son wants you talking about that all the time on your stream?
And then she goes back and kind of slams us on Marco's channel after we're done. I have no idea why. But then Marco starts making all these stupid comments about me as a dad, which doesn't mean anything because you've got to remember the source coming from Marco. It just tells you his level of intellect and the idea of what's happening with drugs in this society. And I don't know anything about your brother, but your brother was a victim of the drug challenges that many people were associated with. And to think that someone could sell drugs and not understand the ramifications of whatever they might have done, either directly or indirectly, and make a statement of, oh, well, if he didn't buy them from me, he would have bought them from someone else, just really tells you the level of mental illness, because if you're that smart and you say things like that, you're mentally ill. Like you are mentally ill. There's something wrong with you by saying the things that you say without addressing the situations the way we're addressing the situations. And that's why you can't have Marco on a show. He's too stupid to be able to have on a show. You can't have an intellectual conversation with somebody who's mentally not right.
So true.
So back to whatever else you want to mention next. And we have about 24 total minutes left.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that, kind of goes in, there's a lot of things in life, like people who will tell you, oh, well, it didn't affect me, so it doesn't matter. Well, all of our actions affect everybody, right? So if that's your mindset, I can already tell that you're only thinking on one level, right? You're only thinking about what you can see, touch, hear, and smell, right? You're not thinking about the impact that might ripple through the multiple layers. So the statement on its own,
Marco, did you deal all the cocaine? Yep, you got me.
I didn't sell it to someone, then someone else would have. Technically, yes. Maybe if you're only looking at that sliver of time. But, of course, if no one sold any drugs, then no one would be on drugs. But there's supply and demand conversations there. I mean, that conversation could go forever. Back to the lawsuit part, though. Do you guys think that – so you guys think that the lawsuits are legitimate because Marco maybe got too personal in the videos, made too many direct threats, that sort of thing? But let's go a step further then. What's your opinion on I Am Academy? Do you guys think that I Am Academy is?
If you don't fix the big things, talking about all the little things to me is a waste of time, because you could fix every little thing you want to fix, but if you still have lack of retail sales and tool scams, very little will really change overall.
If Scott Johnson found out that I was a cocaine dealer who had only retail sales, would he like me then? Would he approve?
You got to fix those big rocks and focus on those two things. All the other stuff is to me, it's a distraction, and it's distracting from the big problems. And that's why I stay focused on those two things. It's not that I deny these things exist. They do. All these statements about you got to go out and recruit a bunch of people. Okay, that's interesting to talk about, but the question is, do they have retail sales? Yes or no? And that's the question that has to be answered. And you say, oh,
probably behind the scenes. And when you're dealing with investment strategies, money-making ideas, stuff like that, you usually need a more sophisticated audience, and MLMers are not a more sophisticated audience. So that means that most people that are going to probably be getting involved are going to lose, and they're going to lose a lot. And most of the money in I Am Academy has to be made probably by recruiting, unless you're actually using the product and using investment strategies. Because most of the times, even if they were okay, the opportunity would be screwed up by the people that are in and the people that are talking about it. So I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. So that's my thing about I Am Academy. Whether it's a good company or a bad company, I don't know. But the reality is that the promoters and the people that I know that I've seen the videos on, product in the world, and showing examples of what I just probably exposed. Yeah, David fell off. I think,
Peter,
David, you're back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the call dropped, but I called right back. I've been hearing you guys the whole time. I caught it all.
Okay, good. So I don't like that gotcha kind of video because it really is damaging on people. I'll use another example.
Remember when he said drug dealing was a pyramid? LOL. So funny.
On Behind MLM, there was just something about GS Partners getting another slam, and GS Partners probably deserved it. But there's this young new distributor who did a meeting in a library in Florida, and one of the investigators came in, and they caught this guy doing a meeting in Florida. Nobody showed up except for the investigators and himself, and he did something. So it was kind of embarrassingly rookie, if you will. Now this guy's got his name plastered all over Behind MLM, and like you had mentioned a little bit earlier, you might have made some rookie mistakes a little bit earlier on in your career. Do you need them blasted all over the place? You made a rookie mistake. You might have even been deceived, and that's how you made your rookie mistake. I don't like those gotcha videos because I think it's unfair and can be taken out of context, and I think the person who is then the victim of that infiltration video can really be damaged.
Yeah. Surely. One thing that you mentioned, you were talking about the woman. Were you referencing the Primerica video that he did where he went in with that interview with the woman during the Primerica?
You can put a video camera in a pen, and that's what Marco and other people do. And so you should be aware of
I didn't put it in there.
Technology and understand what you're doing and saying in this day and age.
Yeah, but Scott, like let's go back to the Amway thing. If you're selling this whole transfer buy thing, which is the way mostly people are being pitched this Amway thing, no sales, just transfer buy, and that's what your culture is, and that's what everybody around you is, and then you're somewhat successful doing whatever this culture is, and then all of a sudden somebody picks up a video camera, and then videos you basically regurgitating everything that you were told by your trusting upline. That's kind of like that person themselves is a victim as well. A lot of the problems with MLM is most people don't know what if we had a man on the street kind of a thing where we went and we asked most people that were in MLM, what's a pyramid?
Peter, your head would explode trying to comprehend just the technical necessity, the technical requirements of filming video content, let alone man on the street content. Your head would explode. What's
a Ponzi? I would be comfortable with that 99.7% getting it mostly wrong. Like, they would probably get it mostly wrong. This is an industry where most people really don't understand this industry because they don't research this industry. They do what they're told by their upline or their upline leadership. So in those instances, catching that gal on camera, she's just basically been doing what she's been told that was legal and right, and she built a whole business that way for X amount of years. And then
exactly, that's the accountability, because
I'm like, this woman is she should hire her.
Year.
I have to skip ahead.
Narcos video was taken down. There's been some others that have put it back up, but the viewership is so low. It's probably in the hundreds of total views, and most of these are just looky-loos. They're not employers or anybody who's responsible. They're just people that like to chase rumors and drama and that kind of thing. It's not anyone that really counts as far as her life. Sure. And so I would, if I was her, I would say that's what I was taught. I would go on YouTube myself and say, look, the company got rid of me, but that's what my upline taught, and here's my upline's names. All right, that's what I would do to counter that.
Can I add something to this real quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, just to give my take on it. So, you don't like the gotcha so much. Scott likes it. I'm in the camp of I like it. So, I think that in today's day and age, you can very quickly go viral by doing the wrong thing and make a bunch of money, but you can also very quickly get exposed and drop down because you get exposed for doing the wrong thing.
Exactly.
Now, going on to the extension of that, which you're talking about, Peter, that you don't like that woman possibly, people might find out who she is and she might get defamed where she lives or get fired or whatever else. And then Scott, you're right. On your side, it's the upline that should be hit. And if you watch that video, Marco spends most of his time talking about that young prodigy guy who now owns all these houses, because Marco even says himself, he says, look, I understand that most of the people at the bottom don't know what they're doing. They don't understand that it's a scam. They just believe a friend, right? The only thing they have a flaw for themselves is that they believed a friend. And and a good example of that would be in the I Am Academy video. There was that African-American gentleman, Fidel, who should be pinned.
Probably could have found somebody else to be.
One of our conversation, Peter, was about your history as Electrolux. And I was probably showing a little bit of my ignorance that I was actually under the impression that when you were with Electrolux, it was a multi-level structure, as in, if you sold vacuums, of course, you made a commission, but then if someone else, if you recruited somebody on your team, that you would get a portion of their sales as well, therefore multi-level. But regardless of the fact, it seems to me like the more that it gets discussed, the more that it seems that the better business model is just direct sales. You know what I mean? If there's all these issues with possibly spending too much time in recruiting or people being sold on the, being miseducated. If the goal is, hey, come work for me, you're going to sell this product and that's it. It would remove so many.
Yeah, David, I have to skip over parts. You're trying to fuck my life up with some of these talking points you're bringing up, David. And honestly, you should have known better, to be honest.
Puzzle pieces. The loose ends that can lead to someone being scammed or lead to someone losing money. So I guess that's kind of an opinion of mine, but I'll leave it with that.
Well, because I grew up in that industry, I can give you plenty of real, legitimate examples of what happened then, what happens now as well. Because even though it's been a while, the reality is a lot of those same practices are still happening today, as we kind of discussed with Amway when Scott has his Amway people on here. But we're going to run out of time, so Scott, give out your website one more time, and then I want David to be able to say whatever he wants in closing.
Yeah, just a real quick comment. I've said before on this show, if I was king for a day, I would get rid of MLM. It would be direct sales only, because it is very troubling as far as the tendencies to recruit and not sell. But I don't expect anyone to offer me that job, king for a day, and I want to do what I think is achievable, which is holding MLM's feet to the fire for retail sales and tool scams, just like Advocare did, right? Advocare got sideways with the FTC and ended up going to direct sales instead of MLM. That's what I think most MLMs would do if the FTC was doing their job properly.
I know, NPAS. I know I'm not saying anything, but the paid assassins will nitpick anything and say that it's my way of talking about it without talking about it and blah, blah, blah.
They would either go out of business or they would go into direct sales and drop the MLM model. So, yeah, let me just – and David, you're more than welcome to come back, because this has been a constructive conversation.
Because you have stroked our egos enough for us to tolerate you.
Unlike some of them we had with other people in the past. And I'll just give my website real quick, and David, let you make any final comments that you want to make, and then we'll call it a night and have you back sometime. I mean, it could be as early as next Saturday if you want. It's we don't have a guest yet for next week, so it's open. And if you'd like to come back in 1 week, you're welcome to do that. So my Facebook page is where you can find the links to my 3 websites.
All right, we're done with that. How many bingos did we get? Looks like 1, 2 bingos, almost 3. Pretty good. Double bingo. We love to see it. Well, I don't want to keep you guys, and I don't want this stream to end up being, longer than it is. So I'm going to end it here. Once again, I want to say thank you guys for all your support, especially this past year when I decided to focus in on anti-MLM content. It's been a lot of fun. I know for a fact my best content has been made this year. Some of it you can see on my channel. Some of it, maybe you'll have to go dig on the internet to find it. But good will always prevail over evil. I believe that. And I think that we've really only just scratched the surface, and we're still just beginning. So tomorrow is going to be a very stressful day. Not even stressful, just a lot of work tomorrow. Moving, lifting stuff, which, no problem for me. But, yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here, all the support, especially all the donos on this stream. That was crazy. I mean, 50 memberships gifted. That was literally insane, and all the bags too. So thank you guys. Yeah, working on a lot. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Jared. Yep. Thank you, Bug. You rock too. Thank you, Susie. Salute back to you. And then, yeah, I guess I should also say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year as well, right? If you're not in the Discord, join the Discord. I'll be in there, and we can keep in touch. And even if I'm not able to do a live stream on YouTube, I could probably do like a voice chat. Maybe we could do like a, movie night in Discord, watching like some MLM related content, maybe betting on zero, maybe, I don't know, something, who knows. But yeah, when will I be coming back? It's uncertain exactly when I will be coming back for live streams, but I want to do it sooner than later. So very, very, very much appreciate you guys. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, I guess. Yeah, so Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Hope you have a great holiday. Be kind to everybody. Spend time with your family. You can always make more money. Thank you. Hello, darling. You can always make more money. Time will never come back. The children in your life will only ever be this small now, and in a very short amount of time, you're going to wish that their voices were still squeaky like they are now, and that they had those, if they're like a toddler, like my nieces, I look back at old pictures and I'm like, man, I wish they still had these chubby cheeks, because I would just like just want to squeeze them, you know. But yeah, appreciate you guys. We'll be back in a new continent, in a new locale, hopefully safer, with a new setup. It's unlikely that I'll have the green screen wherever I'm going, or a green screen wherever I'm going. So we'll have to say goodbye to the compound for a bit. I will be self-destructing the compound and using the tunnels that we've built over these past few months to make my escape. So, you know, it's for the best. It's for safety and security. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. You know?
Marco.
Peace out, you guys. Thank you.